I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to the Anthony Gorgano Show on PHLY. John Marks sitting in for Anthony this morning. I guess my inaugural debut here on the network, as I've been a guest before, but it actually comes on a perfect day. And stay with me here for a second. The Phillies lose last night, and I feel right at home. Because this team this season has been, it's very uncomfortable how good they've been and how many times I've said over and over and over again that they don't have any weaknesses. They don't have any flaws, right? So we'll talk about that in a second. But the Phillies lose. This is now 3 straight losses. And this is one of these games, if you stayed up last night and you watched it, you probably said after the 10th inning, why did I stay up and watch this game? Because they lost to the Giants 1-0. Zack Wheeler, absolutely positively with a great effort. It was wasted. And when you can't score runs, and the Phillies now have not scored runs on this road trip here, offense is struggling, you're going to lose a lot of games. So here's the deal. When you look at the offense, and they've been really at home a lot, going off and scoring a lot of runs, and the starting pitching has been great. At some point during the skid, at some point during the season, they're going to have a skid. And we're in a little mini skid right now. So previous John Marks, sports talk radio Johnny Marks, would probably come on the radio today and say, oh man, starting to get worried. This team maybe has already played their best baseball of the season, but I don't have to do that anymore. I can be more of a fan sitting here right now and talking to you, and I am not concerned for the most part. We'll talk about Nick Castellanos coming up in a second. I am not concerned in the most part. This is still a very good team. This is still a very good starting rotation. And it's San Francisco Giants have been playing very well. They're 10-2 in their last 12 games. The Phillies are brutal in San Francisco. What did I see this morning here? They lost 25 of their last 30 in San Francisco. So for whatever reason, going from Philly out to San Francisco, and they don't do the same kind of long road trips that they once did. It's kind of a short one, but it's not easy to win on the road, especially on the West Coast for the Phillies. So they lose. They get back at it later this afternoon, so hopefully you can get that bad taste in your mouth as they come home for the Cardinals coming up here later this week. But, I mean, the Phillies do have one problem, and it's a Nick Castellanos problem. Because when you watch him and you watch his approach at the plate, really, he has no approach at the plate, right? It's almost uncomfortable to watch him struggle up there night in and night out. And outside of some streaky moments with the Phillies, in particular last year during the playoffs, and then it all went to hell in that Arizona series, he was putting up huge historic numbers. And then just like that, they were gone. But right now, he is killing the offense. And the reason why it's magnified, and the reason why a lot of us are going to talk about this today and probably for the rest of the week, is he's been so bad, and some of the other bats have went silent. He's one of the worst hitters in baseball. If you watch every at-bat, his approach at the plate, there really is no approach at the plate. He's getting hits when he's guessing right. It almost feels like when he's up at bat and the pitcher enters the stretch or goes from the windup, Castellanos is in his head thinking, am I swinging or am I not swinging? Fastball, like he's thinking too much. Now, here's where Rob Thompson comes in. And I've heard a lot of people talk for a long time about the manager's role in baseball. It's not like in football, unless maybe you're Nick Sirianni. But for the most part, right, like hands-on approach in football, the head coach has so much control over what happens during a game, leading up to a game, during a game. Basketball, hockey. But in baseball, as we were learning with Charlie Manuel, a lot of it is just, hey, you want to create an atmosphere that guys like coming into work and they're playing loose and they're playing well. And you also need a ton of talent to do that, right? So Charlie Manuel was able to kind of set his lineup when you have Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley and Ryan Howard and Jason Worth and Shane Victorino. You think about it. Well, this team has a really, really good lineup as well. But Rob Thompson's now biggest job of the manager of this team is to get Nick Castellanos going. And you saw it last night. I saw the lineup when it came out. I said, what the hell is Castellanos doing batting cleanup? It's because Rob Thompson is trying to find a place to get Nick Castellanos doing. I remember when, for whatever reason, this is kind of weird, but Darren Dalton was really, really struggling at the plate. We're going back over 30 years. And Jim Fergosi put him in the lineup batting second because he thought he would see a lot of fastballs. Lenny Dykstra would get on base and said, you know what, Dutch is probably going to see a lot of fastballs. Let's get him going. And he went on a tear, right? Sometimes just moving a player in the lineup can kind of get him going. So Rob Thompson right now, you're going to see him kind of tinkering around getting him in the lineup. Now, at different spots in the batting order. Now, does Nick Castellanos need to play every night? He does not need to play every night. Can you put Edmundo Sosa in right field? That's like, you don't have an obvious replacement to put him out there. So for everybody that wants Nick Castellanos to ride the pine and to be benched, it's not going to happen. He's making a ton of money. His contract is going to be very difficult to trade. It's not going to be during the season. Maybe they'll try to move him in the offseason, probably again like they did last year. But everybody's just got to step back and kind of remember that this has still been a historic run for the Phillies, and this isn't something that was going to be able to continue for the entire season. They weren't going to win 115 games. They're not likely to win 120 games. And I know I was considered NON, negative on NOLA, and I didn't think this team could win the NL East. And we'll see. The Braves are still very good, but it's a tough West Coast road trip. The Giants have owned them in recent years. So we got to just kind of take a deep breath. Hopefully the Phillies get a win today, and then there's not a lot of bitching and complaining to do as the Phillies come home. So Nick Castellanos and Taijuan Walker. If you think about this, all right, Dave Dombrowski, Phillies GM, president of baseball operations, whatever you want to call him, he's in charge. The job that he has done, especially when you look at the team this year, look at the rotation, look at the depth of the team. Trey Turner goes out, Sosa slides right in. You have Whit Merrifield, right? He has done a really, really good job of constructing this team, but he's made two big mistakes. Nick Castellanos is one, and then Taijuan Walker. I heard Jamie talking about it yesterday, watched the show yesterday. Taijuan Walker is what he is at this point. He's a fourth or a fifth starter. He's not going to likely look like he did previously in his career, or if he does, it might be for only a short period of time. And I think you have to live with the fact that he's going to go out, and if he gives you 6 innings, and I don't know why Rob Thompson puts him out there for that extra inning. It seems like he gets pounded in those innings all the time. But as long as he's giving you innings and he's not eating into the bullpen, he's probably going to remain in the starting rotation. He makes too much money. If you were to pull him from the starting rotation now, you're losing him. He's not going to be okay with going to the bullpen. We saw how he acted last year when he didn't make the playoff rotation. So you're going to have to live with Taijuan Walker in the starting rotation. If the biggest problem on this team is Taijuan Walker's ERA is 5 and Nick Castellanos stinks, and I think Castellanos is a much bigger problem than Taijuan Walker, then you have a pretty good team. So Trey Turner goes down. Phillies don't miss a beat. I know it's frustrating because you had a guy that was in there in Turnbull that was really cooking, but money talks and BS walks, and Taijuan Walker's salary makes him a starter, just like Nick Castellanos' salary is going to make him, they'll put him out there that much longer. But by the way, the Anthony Gargano show is sponsored by Trumark Financial Credit Union as we welcome JP in. And this is going to happen.
What's up, John?
This is going to happen, JP. You're going to have to hold my hand here a little bit because I can talk, but it's the other things like the sponsors, and you guys are very busy because everybody wants to be a part of the show.
Yeah.
So I missed the first one,
John.
but
No
I got
worries.
it in.
You did great, guys. I love it.
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Well, first off, we got to give a round of applause to all those Phillies fans staying up till 1 a.m. for that game. Can you imagine that?
No. No, I actually couldn't imagine that.
We talked about it. Like the worst part is like even for like Sixers and Flyers, when they're on the West Coast, right, and the game gets done at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and you obviously like, everyone's got work, right? You got to go to bed, but you wake up like in the middle of the night, or the first thing you wake up, you see that score line and they lost. Like that sucks.
Yeah,
to wake up to that.
Yeah, It for me, it's like 2:30 every night, like clockwork. I got to use the bathroom, right? So it's the 2:30, and I stayed up for a lot of the game. Like with me, JP, if my feet are on the ground, I can stay up and watch TV. Once the feet go up on the couch or in bed,
100%.
I'm snoring. So my feet were up last night, and I fell asleep during the game. And thank God, because if I would have stayed up for them to lose 1-0 in extra innings, that would have been crazy. But yeah, so I did. I went to the bathroom, and it's one of these things where I'm like, all right, like I'm scrolling down. It's all the way at the bottom of the score because it's a late game. I'm like, did they win? I'm like, oh my God, 1-0. Then I go and I look at the box score, and I see Spencer Howard, former Phillies Spencer Howard, he was dealing out there 4 scoreless innings. Like, honestly, there couldn't have been anything else that happened in that game last night outside of injury that would have pissed me off more than Spencer Howard going out there and dealing. Dude. Oh, my God. So, like, here's the one good thing. Like from a Phillies fan perspective, the Giants have been playing. The Giants are 10-2 in their last 12. So you didn't walk into a garbage team,
right?
Like, and it's one of these spots.
They're a solid team.
It's one of these spots where the Phillies go in, and it's natural. You feel you're like, oh man, we're the best team in baseball. Everybody's writing about us. We're number 1 in the power rankings, and then you come back down to earth because teams are ready for you to come in. Now you have the target on your back. So
yeah, man, that's how it works, right? And so like. Listen, you can't expect this team to be rolling over every opponent for the rest of the season. Like, that's so hard to do. And also, let's keep in mind, we do typically struggle out in San Francisco. I think I saw the record. It was 2-15 since 2018 over in Oracle Park. So, like, those struggles are real. And so, like, you're talking about a late May. Well, first off, let's tie in that Colorado series because you're not talking about back-to-back series where you're on the road on the West Coast. Jet lag is a real thing. And right now, yes, the bats seem to be struggling just a little bit, but I would rather them go through the struggle right now. But I do think you nailed it with your popping off, man. Nick Castellanos. Like, what do we do with Nick Castellanos? I do like your idea moving him in throughout the lineup. I think that's a way to spark something in a player. But, I mean, Nick Castellanos right now, everyone's looking at Alec Boehm's fielding issues. Everyone's looking at Taijuan Walker at the mound. But Nick Castellanos has not had a good 2024 season. No. And you're lucky that you have a potent lineup to where, I mean, almost anything that he gives you at this point is an after. Like, it's a bonus. But the minute these other guys start struggling, then when it becomes the focus is on him. And, I mean, honestly, it couldn't be a better situation for him to where he's not being relied on. He's a $20 million a year player. He hasn't lived up to the reputation. You know how we are in Philly. Mm-hmm. Big money players, and he's got an interesting personality to him. I like him, but he's like, I also don't know what to expect from him. He's erratic. I know. It's a wild card, man. Man,
he is. I also think he's a good guy.
Yeah.
So I genuinely think that at some point he's going to turn it around. He's streaky, man. We saw it last year, and when he's in the right frame of mind, baseball is such a mental sport with pitchers and fielders and batters, and Nick Castellanos is a prime example of that. Man, when he sucks, he sucks. And he's been bad this year, pretty much for the entire year. So,
I mean, I don't even know what you do with that eye, man. If he sees every time he sees that outside slider, man, he's swinging on that bad boy every single freaking time.
And if like the scouting reports on him are going to be like, yeah, just don't throw a strike. Just throw that out. Just throw that outside pitch. There was a pitch earlier this year that it had to be 5 feet outside. It was an Angel Hernandez called strike, but still, it was 5 feet outside. He's just swinging. He doesn't even know what he's swinging at half the time.
Nah, man, not at all, man.
Well, that was popping off with Ollipop.
I love it. Look at that.
I haven't had the strawberry.
Here
vanilla.
we go. Here's a taste test. Is it going to be good?
I've had the grape and the cola, the cherry cola.
Okay. Good or bad?
Oh my God. It's delicious. Now, see, I'm also diabetic, so I'm not, like, if that was a big sweet swig of like soda, I'd be like, oh my God. But like, no, this is refreshing.
I like that. Okay.
And VG and I were talking about this earlier. We need dietary fiber in our life because we're old. That's why, like, when you see the old people at the store buying pears, and you're like, why do old people always eat pears? You need the fiber, otherwise man. You have digestive problems.
Fiber's important, guys.
So listen, all I need is this. Man. The hell with pears. I just Ollipop all the time.
We're just sucking back some Ollipops here, guys.
Well, listen. Thank you to Ollipop for that. Todd Zolecki is going to join us coming up here at about 9:30, MLB.com, and now he's like this major media star where he's like podcasting and he's got TV shows and stuff. So he joins us at 9:30. Jamie Lynch is going to pop in for our sit down at 10 o'clock.
Excited for that one.
And I'm excited to hear some stuff that you have for us right here.
Yeah, man.
JP.
Yeah, man. So obviously, listen. Obviously, we have the 3:45 game here today. Hopefully, they can finish out the series here with the W. You don't want to get, we don't want to get swept here against the San Francisco Giants. They're not a bad team either. They're a pretty solid team so far. So we'll see how that turns around. But another bit of news here in Philadelphia that we do need to discuss. It's off-season time for the Sixers. So that means all of us crazy Sixers fans are going to be looking at all these rumors and wonder what this team is going to look like. Well, the latest yesterday from our boy Keith Pompey. Looks like the Sixers are willing, according to reports, throw the money at Jimmy Butler. They would give him the max extension there to bring him back here to Philadelphia. I don't know how I feel about this one. Obviously, for most Sixers fans, they think back to that season, right, when he was here. And that was a lot of fun. But it's been 5 years since then, right?
Wow.
It's crazy, right? It's been 5 years since.
He maxed down there and...
Yeah. And now you have, this team's a little bit different because now you do have a ball handler. Back then, you were hoping Ben Simmons was that guy.
Yeah.
Now you got the Maximus, right? He's your main ball handler. So it's very intriguing. Where are you at with the Jimmies?
He's not first on my list. I would
agree.
be. I mean, I heard the guys talking about it yesterday, and it's not even close. LeBron James is the player that the Sixers need, even if that means Bronny's coming here as well. I don't care. You can draft Bronny wherever you want to.
That's an interesting storyline too, by the way.
It
Bronny
is.
and LeBron.
It is. All right, so Jimmy Butler, it's like the point's been running through Tyrese Maxey. I don't necessarily know if it needs to always run through Tyrese Maxey, right? Especially in the playoffs when you have a half-court game. That's why I like LeBron James. He can literally run your offense. And then Maxey can do a little bit of everything, right? Like Maxey, he's shown to be such a gifted player this year. If you gave him a Jimmy Butler or you gave him a LeBron James, man, it would sure help. I heard Devon saying yesterday Paul George was his number one choice. I actually don't want anything to do with Paul George.
You want nothing to do with Paul?
I don't. Okay. Like, it feels like to me the only reason he'd be coming here would be the Sixers were the one team that would give him a max or the most attractive team that would give him a max offer. It just feels like he'd rather stay with the Clippers and get his max contract, stay on the West Coast. Because not that Paul George is not a good player. This is not an easy place to play. And I wonder if you look at Paul George and his history, being 34 years old, now he's going to come to Philly. And remember when Doc Rivers, after Doc Rivers first got here, or like his second year, he was like, hey, I wasn't here for all those years of disappointment. I wasn't here for the process. I wasn't like, I just got here. I'm making this team better. But the fans were here. So we're not going to react differently because, Doc, you weren't here for 9 wins and losing in the second round and losing in the second round, losing in the first round. So Paul George wasn't here for any of these times either. I mean, it's getting to a point with the Sixers where, like, they got to bleep or get off the pot. Like, we got to get to an Eastern Conference final. TJ McConnell got to an Eastern Conference final before Joel Embiid.
Oh, right? Dude.
Remember Dante Exum in the draft with Joel Embiid, where there were a lot of people that were saying, like, I'd rather take Dante Exum than Joel Embiid. Dante Exum is 1 game away from going to an NBA Finals. Now, he's barely a part of the rotation, but still, right before Joel Embiid. So I'm not going to go kicking and screaming if Paul George is here because the options that the 76ers have right now are what they have, and they have very little control over who's going to come here. They can just try. And here's another thing, JP. Joel Embiid has to start recruiting, and he's got to start developing relationships with these players.
That's a good point.
He's kind of like a loner, and when he's on the floor, he's kind of a dirty player and an erratic player or whatever. So I don't know how much love a lot of players have for him across the league. Mm-hmm. But like, yo, Joel, like, get on the horn with LeBron and be like, yo, bro.
It's not a bad point because that's like what a lot of the stars have done in the past, right? Like look at your LeBrons, your Kobe's, like they go out and they recruit and they're saying like, listen, do you want to win a championship? Well, come to my team. That's something you really haven't seen Joel have done in his career. But I think for myself personally, like obviously, listen, you have a blank slate, right? You have a roster to build around Tyrese and Joel Embiid. So in my opinion, like with any of these guys, I'm for because like you need to add to this team. And I think about it like this too. Like, look, we would have beaten the Knicks if your third and fourth option someone would have stepped up.
Someone had a pulse, yeah.
Yeah, literally anybody.
No, you're right.
So, like, if I'm looking at it, Paul George, to me, is an upgrade to Tobias Harris. Rightfully so. Jimmy Butler, definitely an upgrade on the wings as well. I'm okay with any of these options. I think my top option, and Devon alluded to it as well, is I like the OGs, man. OG Anunoby.
Yeah.
You look at the position he plays. You look at the age that he's at. I do want to get young because I look at some of these Final Four teams. A lot of the role players, they're young players that are hungry and they're dogs.
And they're athletic.
They're athletic.
I just don't know. I think the Knicks would give him part ownership before they let him go to the 76ers.
I think they should, and they absolutely should do everything they possibly can to bring him back. But if he is an option, he's my top option. But I think that it's tough. When you're looking at Paul, you're looking at Jimmy, they both have their pros, and they both have their fair share amount of cons as well. But I think I would lean more towards Paul simply because of the position fit. He's not going to come here and be a top option. The pressure is going to be on Joel and Tyrese still. But I do like the fact that you have a wing player who has been able to prove that he can score within this league, and the pressure's not going to be on him. Now, the money, I'm not a fan of. That's like the one detractor, the money, the age. I'm not really worried about his pass in the playoffs because, again, the pressure's not going to be on him.
Yeah, you hope that they're not left out, right? Because there's also, for everybody that's saying, well, I want this guy, I want that guy, I want this guy, I want that guy, there's also the option of you're not getting any of those players.
Right.
I can sit here and say, I want LeBron all day. The last time they tried to get LeBron, they went to the West Coast to have a meeting with him, and he wasn't even there. They sent some lackey to meet with him. So is it realistic? I mean, I don't know. Probably not.
That should be everyone's top option. I know, I know everyone doesn't like LeBron for the antics and whatnot, but dude, he comes in here again, another guy, positional fit with this basketball team,
for sure.
And John, the winning pedigree. Like, we absolutely need someone who knows how to win. Nobody on this team knows how to win.
No, it's so true. Joel does not know how to win, and sometimes you need that player to come in and say, like, hey, this is how you win. And man, LeBron was healthy this year. I mean, he's one of the second best player of all time. I don't know how the young people of this staff feel like it, but I'll say the second best player of all time.
I'm with you.
All right, what else we got?
No, I mean, listen, wait, first off, did you see the clip of Kylie Kelsey?
I did.
Oh my God. First off, kudos to Kylie for stepping up. I was talking to my fiance about this, and like, listen, she had every right to clap back at that lady.
Of course she did.
That was absolutely.
I don't care who she. I don't care if she's famous and whatever. No, the Delco came out in her. You don't talk to people from Delaware County like that. Doesn't matter if they're rich and successful and stars or whatever. You don't act like that. I'm glad she did too.
Yeah,
glad she did too.
This lady had the audacity to say, "You'll never be welcome in the city again." Who are you? They don't even know you. And then, by the way, this happened in Margate, not in ALLCITY, which was also a good point to add into that as well.
Oh, see, I didn't even. Yeah, I just assumed. I guess it was in Sea Isle. Maybe I saw something that was.
Yeah, well, shout out to our friends over at Crossing Broad. I saw they put it out there, and I was waiting for that video there as well because I'm like thinking to myself, like, who? First off, like, I get it. Like, people get upset if you can't get a picture. It happens, right? But to clap back at the Kelseys, nonetheless, that's insane to me.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, you ask for a picture, someone doesn't want to do it, someone doesn't want to do it. You don't start yelling and screaming at them.
No, that's absolutely insane. And that's another thing we need to talk about. Like, listen, we all know that these athletes, we love them, right? We all want a picture. We want an autograph, a little interaction with them. But they don't have an obligation, especially like, dude, date night, date night, man. You want to spend some time with your significant other, don't want to be bothered.
Don't bother them at dinner when they're eating. Leave them alone. Don't do that at dinner. No, I mean, but the thing about it is now, what used to be an autograph is now the selfie is the modern day autograph. Because who wants an autograph or whatever? Like, just gotta get your autograph. No, you just like, hey.
Little video.
Yeah, exactly.
A little video, a little selfie.
And there's been so many times where I should have gotten selfies with somebody that I didn't because I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
But now I've decided that regardless, I'm just snapping a selfie and not even asking. Just like, yeah, stop.
We're Uncle Joey, right? Like, take a little selfie in the video, send it to Uncle Joey. It's all fun. How was your Memorial Day weekend, by the way?
Oh man, it was great. We had people over on Sunday. So now that my kids are 8 and almost 7 and almost 3, so they have their school friends, and then we have the parents of those friends. And actually, we've become more friendly with the parents, and the kids are actually friends, right? So we had, I don't know, maybe 15 kids over on Sunday, and I have this big, should have sent you the picture of it. I have this big bounce house, water bounce house.
Oh, yeah, I'm in.
So you got to inflate it, and then you got to keep the thing moving. So the electricity has to be on the entire time. So I have a huge extension cord that goes out into the yard, and then you got to hook up the hose. This thing is massive, and I bought it off a marketplace too. But like 5 years ago, it was pandemic, so I don't know however many years ago that was. I bought it off marketplace for like $50. And this thing still works. I've had to patch it a couple times. So the kids are like, "Oh, bounce house has a big slide that goes down and everything." So
You got the good stuff over there, John, for the kids.
it's the worst. It's literally this thing.
Kids love it. Parents don't.
This thing couldn't be because it must weigh 100 pounds.
Oh God.
And there's nowhere to store it because if it goes in the garage, it'll take over the whole garage. So then
You have a shed out back?
I have a shed, but I
Okay.
also have a riding mower.
Oh, okay.
So the shed, so it's like I'm like throwing it over the riding mower to get it back into the shed, and it's like muddy and buggy and wet. So now I have to drag it on the driveway to let it dry out. So I'm not putting it away, so it gets like moldy and nasty. So yeah, so the water bounce house was brought out over the weekend. Yeah, I mean, listen, the weather's great. As long as the weather's great, I can be outside.
We were blessed with great weather this past weekend for Memorial Day weekend.
You're damn right. You're
That was
damn
awesome.
right. All right, we have something here, don't we?
What do we got there?
What do we got here? Oh, man. Bet Parks Casino. How about this? I'm actually headed up to Parks today. I do a baseball show, Out of the Parks with John Marks with
There we go.
Maniac Malloy and Sam Stafford. So that's live later today.
Check that out, guys.
But check this out. The Femmes of Rock play classic rocks on violins. That's right. How about that? You play violin?
I do not. I was a trumpet guy.
I was a trumpet guy too. I quit in 8th grade, I think.
Yeah,
Like
me
7th
too.
grade, I quit.
Literally.
And
middle
the
school time.
music teacher was mad because he's like, "You think you're too cool to play the trumpet?" And I'm like,
Wait till you hear
maybe. I don't know.
Anthony Massimo's story.
I'll have to ask him about it next time. So Sebastian Bach, former lead singer of Skid Row, brings his solo tour to headline Saturday night. So the Femmes of Rock playing classic rock on violins on Friday night. That's pretty cool. August 23rd, the Southern Rock of the Marshall Tucker Band. September 7th, Australian Pink Floyd. How about that? Plus, from the TV show Jersey Shore, the It's Happening podcast with Snooki and Joey. Oh, boy. That sounds awesome. Parks Casino, June 28th. I like Snooki when I like Snooki when she was a little plumper. Can I say, like, when she's lost a lot of weight, she looks good. But like the Snooki that I love was the Snooki falling off the bike.
Getting arrested on the seaside
being
beach.
drunk. Yeah, she's much better off in life. Don't get me wrong. All right, check this out. Comedian Michael Blostein, October 25th. All Parks Casino, the #1 casino experience in the state of Pennsylvania. Parks Casino. This is how you win. They have it all. It is my casino of choice. 3,200 state-of-the-art slots, 115 live table games, a beautiful poker room, which I've played at many times, state-of-the-art sports book with a 150-foot video wall, plus the ultra-cool X Lounge. Dining options amazing. The Parks Grill Steakhouse, the Liberty Bell Gastropub and Beer Garden, sushi hand rolls at Bamboo Noodle House, and New York's best club comedians every Thursday night and the best cover bands every weekend at the 360 Lounge. Visit parkscasino.com. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Must be 21. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. Well, guys, speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about our friends over at Trumark Financial, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you guys, you've heard my story, right? Waking up on a Saturday morning, finding out my bank closed. Super scary stuff, especially what's going on with the news these days. And then I was talking to my buddy Brian this past weekend, Memorial Day weekend, and he told me that he as well had the same bank and he had the same exact scare. Well, luckily, listen, guys, we talked about before. We had Kristen and Megan in from Trumark Financial. They gave me the education that I needed to understand about the situation. So I relayed the information back to Brian there as well, letting him know, hey, it's okay, but maybe consider something like a credit union, maybe like Trumark Financial. Because when you join a credit union like Trumark Financial, you become a part owner, ladies and gentlemen, which means profits come right back to you instead of going to those shareholders. Better rates, lower fees, a better return on savings, and much more flexible options with all the same digital tools and technologies to make our lives easier. The app, the Apple Pay or Google Pay, whatever you may be using, Trumark Financial has those things as well to make all of our lives super simple. And the best part about it, guys, why are we Eagles fans? Why are we Sixers? Why are we Phillies? Why are we Flyers? Why are we Union fans? Because we like to support and root for local. And that's what Trumark Financial is. It is a local true credit union here, located right here in Fort Washington. The best part about it, they have 24 different branches here in the Philadelphia area. So like I said, you want to root and support local. That's what Trumark is. Becoming a member of a credit union has so many more benefits over becoming a customer at a bank. Guys, it's a no-brainer. And here's what you got to do. Very simple. Head on over to trumark.com/PHLY to learn more. Or you can find a branch near you here today. Like we mentioned, 24 of those bad boys here in the Philly area. Again, that's trumark.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA. And thank you to our friends over at Trumark Financial.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right, we're at Todd Zolecki's on the clock right now. He'll join us, MLB.com, as the Phillies lose last night. And then VG's going to join us coming up after that, the grind with VG. Someone told me his picks are red hot.
Oh, man.
3-1 last night, VG?
3-1.
Oh, man. Now, do you offer a special where if you get, picks wrong? I know. Remember? I mean, you probably remember, like me, where the carnival barkers back in the day, and you don't hear it as much anymore. The Sunday mornings, or we even used to, in my early days of sports radio, we used to have guys on that literally wouldn't even give picks. Literally, like a Mike Missanelli show, and they wouldn't even give picks. They'd just come on and be like, game of the year. Get this game or the rest of the season's free. It's like, all right, well. And I actually had my buddy, and this is going back to it's like going back 20 years. But he had he used to, I don't know how he got, Joe Wiz. You probably heard the name Joe Wiz. Joe Wiz is like this New York betting guy. So he started so you call the number and then you have to wire him money and they give you picks.
Oh my God.
And then Joe Wiz went to hell. So then he was using this other service. And when I tell you, and this was pro basketball picks, NBA picks. And this guy, whoever's coming up with these picks, he had 18 to 20. And he was hitting them all. But then you know what happens. You get greedy. You don't pocket the money. You don't deposit as I guess people do now on the sports books. Ended up losing it all anyway. But yeah, I mean, it is. It was Joe Wiz. But that's what used to get back in the day was you would get the carnival barkers that wanted you to call. Call right now. 800. Blah, 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 blah.
They can wire me money through PayPal or Venmo. They'll get my game of the year.
There you go. Venmo you?
Venmo.
All right. Well, VG's coming up with his games of the year.
Violations, Greg.
Coming up
I love it. I mean, I remember my first interaction with illegal gambling back in the day. It was when I used to get my haircut as a kid in North Philly, and they would have the bookie in the back of the barber shop, and then you would I took a peek in there as a kid, and you see this big board with the scheduling and then the money lines and all that. This is I'd say it was 2006, 2007. That was my first.
I can't even imagine because I used to have to. I mean, use a bookie or whatever. And then they had the offshore accounts, which was who wants to send their money offshore? And then it's I don't know. It just always seemed weird to me. But yeah, certainly changed the world.
It has.
Legalized getting certainly changed the world. All right, so Todd's ready to get punched up here coming up in a second. But the Phillies lose 3 straight, and their offense, really for the first time this season, outside of maybe the beginning of the year when they lost their first 2 series of the season, I guess. And then since then, it's really been kind of one of these pinch me moments. And I didn't want to do this, but it really had me going back to the Eagles, to where I was uncomfortable with how good the Eagles were before everything went to hell. But it was this team doesn't have a weakness. Jalen Hurts is unbelievable. They have not 1 but 2 great wide receivers. Look at the skill guys. Look at the offensive line. They're winning close games. You couldn't nitpick and you couldn't bitch anymore. Because yes, they weren't blowing all the teams out, but they were winning every game. And it's this is weird. The GM's great. They were just in the Super Bowl last year. They have a young stud quarterback that comes up big in big spots. What could possibly go wrong? And then it went wrong, just like that. And the Phillies this year were playing similar to, really playing similar to how the Eagles were playing before it all went to hell last year. And I'm not saying that I expect that to happen with the Phillies because I don't. But, man, we had a hell of a run for the Eagles to start the season where, like, nothing was really going wrong. And then the Phillies right now, this is the first skid that they've really had this year. So I guess it's to be expected. And it's tough on the road trip when you go out there. You had given me a stat earlier that was they were like since 2000 whatever they were like 2 and
2018,
whatever. Yeah. I have a different one that says they're 25 and 30 since 2000 and what. So
yeah. No, I mean, listen, these things do happen, right? Going out there in the West Coast, it's always tough, like we talked about. But like, I mean, you're kind of spot on with some of the things. Like when I looked at this Phillies team throughout the season, like a couple things, right? So like you had a lot of your complementary pieces step up for you, right? Your Clemens, your Paches, Rojas, making some big plays when you needed it most. You know, you weren't relying on your big bats or your big guns, you may say. And then the other thing too, John, was the bullpen. I mean, you really haven't had to rely much now. The bullpen hasn't been the issue these past couple games, but these are things that you're just sitting there and wondering. All right, we have, you know, these starting pitchers are going at least 7 innings deep on every game. You know, when are we going to have to rely on that bullpen? Now, we still haven't gotten to that point, but for these bats, they just, I mean, like, dude, like last night, you lose it in extras off that one run, like that to me, that's just uncalled for.
It's a great point with the bullpen too, because the bullpen has been good, and you know, at some point the bullpen's not going to be good. And there's going to be...
They're going to get tested.
Yeah, there's going to be an injury, or you know how relief pitchers are. They lose it.
A bad start.
Yeah. So it's like this is going to happen over the course of a $1.62. They're still very, very comfortably one of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah, all right, come back home to St.
Right
Louis
now.
this weekend. You know, get the home crowd behind you. Get that streak rolling here again. I genuinely do think that they will be fine. But we need to get these bats awakened, and maybe what you need is just coming back to Philly. It's as simple as that.
Little home cooking. By the way, shout out to JT Realmuto, 17-game hitting streak.
Yeah, how about that,
for
huh?
JT? Best catcher in baseball.
Quite
for sure.
good season, by the way, for JT.
It's a lot of times, like when you look at contracts or trades or things like that. When you look at the Zack Wheeler, the first contract that he got, Matt Klentak actually gave it to him. What a great signing. I mean, he has developed into one of the best, and when I say one of the best, I'm talking about top 3 over the course of those years. He gives you innings. He really hasn't been injured. He's the Cy Young favorite right now. He's been absolutely unbelievable. And when you traded for JT Realmuto, you gave up Sixto Sanchez, who was the best Phillies pitching prospect. And Sixto Sanchez ate Sixto Sanchez. I don't know if you've seen him recently. But he has been, and he didn't look good. He pitched against them, what was it, last week or the week before, and he struggled. And he hasn't done much down there.
Got called out by his manager, Schumacher.
Skip Schumacher called him out, and it's like, you can't kill us. You killed the team. You killed the bullpen. So the trade, I mean, not only did it work out, I mean, JT's been a big part of the success here. He's the best catcher in baseball, receives the ball well. We know how he is with throwing out would-be stealers. And that's also changed a lot, too, if you think about it, with the new rules in baseball. Stealing has become a much bigger part of the game, and now you got the best catcher in baseball.
For sure.
And his bat's been really good. So JT has been fantastic. It's really worked out. He's better than well.
It's truly remarkable. Big part of that batting lineup there as well. I mean, you know, you look back at that trade, it really, really worked out here for the Phils. And, you know, at a time where a lot of people were worried about trading away Sixto Sanchez. And listen, everyone around here knows I love my Colombians. Jorge Alfaro. I love Jorge Alfaro. But even I knew, too, that JT Realmuto was a big upgrade there as well. And you look, it's been like 5 years, I think, now since that trade has happened. And the trade has worked out really well here for the Phils. And it just goes to show it's part of that strong core, the strong nucleus that the Phillies have. And listen, in baseball here today, it's all about stars, right? A lot of the good teams have those star players. You look at what the Rangers were able to do. But this team has star players with a great supporting cast, and everyone has bought in. And we talked about it last week. You know, Topper hasn't gotten a lot of roses so far this season, but he's mixed this team up very well, and you gotta love it, man.
Well, Todd's here. Remember back in the day when Maybe you don't remember this, JP. But when something would go wrong, it would say, we're experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. And then there would just be this screen that would have like color rainbow through the minute. And it would go, it's like, that's not comfortable. Like, okay, we know you're experiencing technical difficulty. But is Todd Zolecki here? Todd Zolecki.
I am.
MLB.com. Longtime Phillies reporter. Todd, I remember when we were both young in the business, you were coming up as the Phillies reporter for the Inquirer. I was a lowly producer at 9:50 a.m. And look at us now. We're old. We have kids. Like now you're a multimedia star.
Gray hair.
Yeah, I got you beat.
Gray hair now.
But I'm also unemployed, and you have multiple jobs now. And we'll talk about them coming up in a second. 3-game losing streak. This was bound to happen. They weren't going to win 130 games this season. Just saying. I guess I'm just like, you didn't know whether the pitching was going to go first or the hitting was going to go first. They've struggled in San Francisco. Colorado's not an easy place to play. I guess just your reaction to this latest skid from the Phillies.
I'm not going to say I knew that this was going to happen, but West Coast road trips are always tricky. They're always tricky. No matter how good a team is, going out to the West Coast for some reason, I feel like a lot of those games in the NL West on the road, there's always some crazy things that happen. And, they had been going so well. They were due for a stretch like this. And I know people are going to say, and have said to me, it's the Rockies. They stink. They can't be losing to the Rockies. They're terrible. Agree 100%. That's a team that they should beat. But every team goes through this. You're going to have, the Dodgers, going to lose to the Marlins or whatever the case may be. It happens all the time. So they're hitting a rough patch right now. There's no reason to be concerned. I think they're going to be fine. They'll pull out of it.
Right. And this portion of the show, by the way, brought to you by Trumark Financial Credit Union. Did you think, I think they've exceeded everybody's expectations at this point. I saw this team as being an 88, 89, 90 win team. I didn't see what happened with Ranger Suarez to start the season. Are you surprised at how well they've played? What did you think going into the season this team was going to look like?
I thought they would be better than an 88, 90 win team because I did believe that having everybody healthy at the beginning of the season was going to make a big difference. You have a healthy Harper. Schwarber came into camp a little bit healthier. Trey Turner didn't have the weight of expectations on him. Ranger Suarez was healthy. Now, I didn't expect them to get off to a start like this. This start is it was absolutely insane. And they were beating bad teams at a clip. And I mentioned this, I talked about this maybe like a week ago. I looked up the numbers. All the 100-win teams, John, over this century, there's 35 100-win teams. Going into this road trip, the Phillies had like a 733 winning percentage against teams with losing records. Only 4 of those 35 teams had a better winning percentage against teams with losing records. In other words, all the argument of they're just playing bad teams. Of course they're off to a start like this. No. They were doing something that a lot of 100-win teams have not been able to do, and that's really just destroy those bad teams. They were playing at an elite level.
Yeah, I mean, it was unprecedented what they were doing, and they shouldn't lose to, and they've really beat up on them. All right, so Todd, do we have a Nick Castellanos problem? And we know that he's ice cold right now. He got a hit last night. But do we have a problem going forward here? If you're Rob Thompson, how do you kind of navigate? Because his salary says he's going to be starting. You're not going to replace him, but how do you navigate it if you're Rob Thompson?
It's tricky because Nick wants to play, and you mentioned the salary. He's got a $100 million deal. He's got 2 years left after this year, so you need him to perform. So I think he is going to continue to play. He might hit 7th late last season. Rob Thompson dropped them all the way down to 8th. It looked like, up until recently, it looked like he was starting to get out of it. I was looking at his numbers again, like going into this road trip. I think over his last couple weeks, he was hitting 250 with a 760 OPS. Not amazing numbers, but numbers that you could live with from your right fielder. So he continues to struggle like this, what are the options? Well, they don't really have a lot of great options in the outfield. They don't have a guy in AAA. They're going, I cannot believe they are keeping this guy in AAA for, because Nick Castellanos has got this money, still owe this money. Sure, you could play some Christian Pache. You could play a little bit more Cody Clemens in the outfield. You could do some things like that. But what do they do going forward? I think they're really just hoping that he's going to get out of it. They've had seasons like this before with really big stars that struggle, and you just, Pat Burrell 03 comes to mind. He was terrible all year. They just ran him out there all year because they needed him to succeed, and they were hoping that at some point he was going to turn around. Now, maybe Dave Dombrowski gets to a point where toward the end of July, he says, this is our shot. We got to go for it. Maybe he does something like that. It's possible, but right now I think they're going to continue to see if Nick can pull out of this.
Yeah, and Todd, I think Rob Thompson, this is where the good managers in baseball take a case like you had mentioned Pat Burrell earlier, but now Castellanos, finding a spot where he's comfortable to where he gets going again. And you saw him batting cleanup last night. Maybe it was one of these things where he thought like, hey, maybe this will get him going, put him at cleanup. He's going to tinker around with him to try to get him comfortable. And we've seen Castellanos is streaky. He is. I mean, he went last year. He had a historic run in the playoffs, and then he was swinging at balls 5 feet outside in Game 3 of the NLCS. So this is kind of what you get with Castellanos, is that he's streaky. And right now, I mean, to me, this is all mental. He's in his own head. He's up there guessing. Totally. He has no approach at the plate. And it's tough to watch. He's difficult to watch when he's like this.
Yeah, he is. He's very, very streaky. He's a deep thinker, which can be bad for a baseball player. He talked a lot about, I remember in April, he was talking a lot about, it's like all offseason, all spring training, all I heard about was chase rate. So now I'm in the batter's box, right? And he's going, cut down on your chase rate. So now he was thinking about, don't swing if the pitch is out of the zone. And now a pitch would be in the zone, and you go, oh my gosh, it's in the zone. And you saw him take a lot of really defensive swings at the ball instead of being super aggressive. And so he said, you know what, I'm going to stop thinking so much. I'm just going to go up there and be aggressive. I'm going to swing. And again, like going into this road trip, it looked like he was starting to do that more. He was getting a few more extra base hits. He was hitting a few more home runs. And then it's kind of turned recently where he's been struggling.
And now we talk about it because the lineup has now got a little bit cold, and now it's magnified because it's like, all right, come on. Because, I mean, it's really his turn to step up here. And he definitely a deep thinker, the Scooby-Doo, the superhero Scooby-Doo talk with Nick Castellanos. See, like, I like Nick. His behavior to me is a little bit erratic. Like, you never know what you're going to get from him, but I think he's a good dude. And, like, he works in that clubhouse, too. His personality works in the clubhouse to where if you bring somebody else in, do you worry about now he wants playing time and Nick wants playing time. So let's hope we can navigate out of this cold streak right here. One more thing, and then I want to ask you about your new podcast and you're doing TV as well. But for me with Taijuan Walker, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, just put Turnbull back in and put Taijuan Walker in the bullpen. He's still giving you innings. He doesn't look good up there. I wonder if it's only a matter of time before he's not giving you innings. But he's going up there, and Rob Thompson, I think, is giving him an inning too much in a lot of these starts.
Right.
But as long as he's giving you 6 innings, he's not going anywhere. I mean, his salary, again, we talked about Castellanos, his salary is that he's going to be in the starting rotation until you literally can't put him out there anymore. And I don't feel like that certainly right now. And it feels like to me, he's probably going to be in the rotation, at least for the foreseeable future.
I agree 100%. And not only the salary, but there is something to a guy who just last season, made 31 starts, pitched almost 180 innings. There's real value in that. We talk a lot about baseball today and how starters they do the 5 and dive, second time through the lineup and they want to get out of the game. You talk about openers and bullpen games like the Giants did last night. Teams really value and want pitchers that can go 5, 6, 7 innings. And is Taijuan Walker keeping pace with Wheeler and Suarez and Nola? No. But if he can give you 5, 6 innings, 6 innings more often than not, as the number 5 starter, which in effect he is, despite his payroll or despite his salary, I think the Phillies will take that. And if he does stumble and he starts getting blown up and now he's only going 3 innings, 4 innings, and the bullpen starts getting really worn down, well, now they have the option of possibly going back to Spencer Turnbull. But I think in a situation like this, and this is a thing that, again, managers have to do, you're not just making pitching changes, you're managing people. And so
Right.
you have to give Taijuan Walker some run. You just have to. I know that a lot of people get angry when I say that, but he's got 2 years left on his deal. You have to give him some run here. You can't just go, he struggled 5 starts in a row here, he's done. No,
You're the
you have
long
to give
man.
him.
See ya. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
we
You
saw
can't
how he
do that.
reacted to not being in the playoff rotation last year. So
Right.
you already got an idea what it's going to do. And I feel like once you lose him, you lose him. And now you're stuck with a contract that you wish you didn't have, but you're still stuck with it. All right. So listen, you're like a big star now. How do you have time to do all this? So first of all, the Phillies show. I mean, our own Jim Salisbury's with you, Ruben Amaro Jr., and Todd Zolecki. Now, how did you start this? You just decided like, hey, I want to get into the podcast space. How did this come to fruition?
Yeah, so it's funny. I was talking with Jim in the offseason. I've been wanting to do a Phillies podcast for a while and just haven't found the right opportunity. And I was talking with Jim in the offseason. And I said, hey, I would love, if you ever want to do a podcast, I think it would be a good fit. And then he basically said, well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I've been talking to Ruben about possibly doing one. And next thing you know, I'm running into Ruben in spring training. And I said, hey, well, how about the 3 of us maybe get together? I think that could be a lot of fun. We literally threw it together right before opening day, and it has been a lot of fun. We just had Chase Utley on.
Yes.
That episode dropped yesterday. We've had Pat Burrell on. We're hoping to get more guests down the road. And, we all like each other. We all love baseball. And it's been a lot of fun to kind of get together and talk about different things. We goof on each other, besides the regular baseball talk. And, for my money, nobody's been better at baseball writing in this city or sports writing in this city than Jim Salisbury. He is the friggin' man. And Ruben is, he's done it all in baseball. Player, GM, coach, everything. So it's been a fun fit.
Yeah, I saw the Burrell where he talked about his struggles with kind of the nightlife of Philadelphia. I mean, it was really, really interesting. He opened up. I mean, you guys are getting some good stuff. I didn't see the Utley one yet, but I'll have to check it out. And you're doing TV too? Are you Phillies Nation TV, Todd Zolecki?
Yeah. So Phillies Nation TV on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Basically, what's cool about this is that they've basically taken on the podcast. So Ruben, Jim, and I are kind of like contributors to the Phillies Nation TV show. It's going to be it airs an hour before every Phillies game on Saturday on NBC Sports Philadelphia. So you're going to see us. You can find us on the podcast, and then you can find us on Saturdays an hour before first pitch.
My buddy Sam Stafford is on Phillies Nation TV as well. So it's
Greg Murphy. Yeah, it's awesome.
Very good show. All right, last thing. How many wins for the Packers this year? Todd Zolecki, a big Green Bay Packers fan. Jordan Love, got to tell you, by the end of the season, I picked the Packers to win the division last year. They didn't win the division, but they made the playoffs. What do you see this year?
Well, I'll tell you, I early in the season, I was like, man, I don't think Jordan Love's going to do it. And then he caught fire. So I'm all on. I'm going to say 13 wins for the Packers. I watched that playoff run last year. I was jumping around my living room like a crazy person. So I'm all in on Jordan Love and the Packers.
How do you keep getting these quarterbacks that sit for like their entire rookie contract and then they plug them right in and they're great?
It's amazing. I'm surprised that more teams don't do that because it seems to be a formula that works. Favre sat for like Doug Peterson, and then Rodgers sat for Favre, and then Love sat for Rodgers. You want
to know why?
It works.
Because Green Bay fans are more patient. Can you imagine in Philadelphia us waiting for a first-round draft pick to play a quarterback?
Yeah. I shouldn't say Favre sat for Doug Peterson. Favre sat for Don Majkowski. That's what happened.
Was it the Magic Man?
I
remember Doug was up there.
Yeah. Right. Doug was up there, though.
Well, Todd, appreciate it, man. Congrats on all the stuff going on, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it, man. See you.
All right, man. Todd Zolecki, MLB.com, and all the other ventures that he has as we welcome VG, the grind with VG, as he comes in here. And this is where I say that Bet Parks is is a presenting sponsor of this segment or the show, right? I love BetParks. Listen, I have the BetParks app right here on my phone. Not even lying.
Yeah.
I watched Ranger Suarez's Cy Young odds go from like 60 to 1, the 26 to 1, the 20 to 1. They were all the way down. He was the second shortest odds to win the Cy Young. I don't know where it went after his last start, but
He was plus 400 last week.
plus 400. Yep.
Yep.
I didn't relook at it. What's
Yeah.
up, VG?
Touch me, man.
Oh, I forgot. I had to do.
You hurt yourself?
I had to do a wardrobe change before you came on with the.
Whoa.
Last time I learned that.
Nair that chest, brother. Nair it up. My goodness.
So JP asked me about about what I did over Memorial Day. One thing I didn't do was take my shirt off, because if I did, I wouldn't.
Jungle John on that chest. Whoa, brother. Shave it back.
So we have like 2 pool parties scheduled for this weekend, and I'm gonna have to.
Oh, man, you
it's
bearing
charged. It's charged. Like the beard trimmer is charged.
Good. Yeah, the kids do not need to see that.
I don't need the back. The back isn't. I mean, the back's hairy. It's
Get
not
one
too
of those
bad.
surfer shirts. What are they? I forget.
I'm
A rasher.
I'm not wearing a
rasher
surfer
shirt.
So I've
protect
worked-
you from the UV.
I've worked hard on the summer
on the
vibe.
pecs. Yeah.
All right, well, maybe I haven't worked hard, but I've like last 6 weeks.
The
I've
pecs
tried.
are popping through that shirt. I
They
can
are
see
not.
them.
It's not
Yeah.
the strongest point of my.
I've been working out with Baldy.
Jeez, well, I have worked out with Baldy before.
Yeah.
He's an animal. He's an animal. All right, so what do we got here? I do hear that you're on fire.
3-1 last night for those paying attention. 3-1, coming off a hot week.
All right,
All
right.
Early game today. Pittsburgh, you got Jared Jones out there. I think they got the Tigers. He's been throwing some heat. He's got a high whiff rate. Over 6.5 strikeouts on the BetParks app is minus 136. He's hit 7 or more 3 of his last 4 games, so I feel pretty good about
Not
this
Jenny
one.
Jones. What's his name?
Jared Jones.
Jared Jones. All right.
Yeah. Jared, I believe.
Oh, Jared.
Jared Jones.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's a good. They got a couple good young arms.
All
in
right. So
Pittsburgh.
when you're betting baseball,
Mm-hmm.
do you look at lost last night, extra inning game, go with the team that lost last night? Like I look at today's game, I get a little bit worried because it's the last game, and it wasn't an extra long road trip, but still, the Phillies are licking their wounds a little bit right now. It feels like they're tired, and this might be the wrong spot.
I'm not touching the Phils.
No.
The bats are dead. I wouldn't know what side to play with the Phils. I tried last night to throw a little parlay together, and it's been a disaster. So I got to let them cool off. Wait till they come home.
All right.
But we'll go
All
with over. We're going to Diamondbacks and Rangers. A little over 8.5 runs. We have Dane Dunning and Ryan Nelson pitching. Neither of one are really studs. So over 8.5, minus 130. We'll root that in tonight.
All right. I like it.
Hockey, I've been a little disappointed. I don't know if you know, I'm a big Oilers fan. Oilers are in a tough spot tonight. They're down 2-1.
Oh.
Dallas is playing really well, but both teams have been scoring. So I think an over 5.5 goals at minus 125 on BetParks feels really nice. I think 6 is a good total for tonight's game. So over 5.5 in hockey, and who doesn't like to root an over in?
Yeah, who wants to bet an under in anything really? Unless it goes under and you win.
Brad does, and in honor of Brad, the brain, we have an under. I have to find one under a night to put in for Brad. And I like the Cubs and the Brewers. Under, what is it? It's under 7.5. Imanaga is pitching. He's got 9 starts. His ERA is like 0.83, 0.84. I think he's given up like 7 runs in 9 games, some stupid number.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think the Brewers are going to bash him around. So I think under in that game. It's an under 7. 7.5 is the number when I looked. So that's it, man. That's the grind.
All right. And by the way, on the BetParks app right now, Ranger Suarez is plus 650, so he's went down. Wheeler's still your favorite at plus 200. Is he going to be the guy this year that has a great start every time, but the Phillies don't score runs behind him?
It seems like that. Nola had a year like that, a year or two.
Cole Hamels used to have years like that as
Yep.
well.
I'd put some bucks on some shekels on.
Chris Sale, I sat in your spot talking to Anthony, saying that I like the Braves starting pitching better than the Phillies starting pitching.
Yeesh.
And, well, Strider's went down.
Yeah.
But I like the acquisition of Chris Sale. I thought it was a mistake that Dave Dombrowski wasn't in on it. Now, as it turned out, the Phillies starting pitching is great, but Chris Sale has been very good.
Yeah, we'll see if he lasts a year, though. You know, he's injury prone. He's like a walk-in hospital half
He
the time.
has not been healthy for...
Yeah. So he's got major talent, but The odds of him staying healthy, I'd bet against that.
I've noticed here that and I've been living in it seems like I know Crossing Broad has done this, but like the Braves are mad that the Phillies have started. Braves fans are mad that the Phillies have started out as great as that they have. So if you look in comments, and I'm on Instagram, and you look at the Braves fans comments and Phillies fans comments or whatever, they're very much embracing, hey, look at what we've done the last couple of years in the regular season. We started off hot. We won over 100 games. And what did that do for us come playoffs when the Phillies got hot, right?
Yep.
So they're embracing the role of not starting off hot. And Phillies fans are like, here's my advice to Phillies fans. Don't worry about it. Enjoy it. Enjoy the run right here. We haven't seen anything like this, really, ever.
And they're fine. Like I've talked about it a couple of times. The Dodgers lost 5 in a row. It happens to these good teams. They're going to be just fine.
They're going to be just fine.
Yeah. The Braves fans are also chesty about last time Acuna went out, we won the World Series.
Right. Yeah. Just what you want. You want your best player out. Yes.
Nice.
It's working according to plan so far.
Keep feeling good about that.
All right, VG, we'll talk to you in the clubhouse coming up here in a little bit. But let's talk about Butcher Box. We talked earlier about Memorial Day weekend. Like, oh, well, you like Memorial Day weekend? There's nothing that I like more than grilling season. And I'm not just talking about hot dogs and hamburgers. I'm talking about all the premium cuts that you're getting from Butcher Box. Deals this good are hard to come by at the grocery store. And I go to the grocery store and like, oh, that's not a bad price for steak or whatever. But what are you getting, right? What are you getting for your money? You're easily finding high-quality meat and seafood that you can trust. 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork-raised, crate-free, and wild-caught seafood. No antibiotics, no hormones. And here's the great part. Delivered right to your door. Free shipping, as always. And it's curated to customized box plans. So you don't even need to have a brain to figure out what to get. Boom! They send you a bunch of great stuff. A variety of high-quality meats, amazing value. If you're a member, you get deals you don't get anywhere else. Recipe, inspiration, guides, tips, and hacks. And listen, it's convenient. And that's what we want. We like convenient. We want something to go right to our doorstep. And you bang it right in the freezer. You don't have to go to the grocery store. Tips. If you don't know what you're doing with grilling, Butcher Box pretty much takes care of you with that. I can't imagine Anthony is a good natural griller. I know he probably likes to eat what's on his grill. But is he a great natural griller? He may be now with Butcher Box. All right, great savings, great prices, and we know what prices at the grocery store look like right now. They're not very good. All right, Butcher Box offering our listeners an amazing offer. New users get free meat plus $20 off your first box. Are you kidding me? Join today by using the link butcherbox.com/PHLY and then use the code PHLY to receive the exclusive offer today before time runs out. Again, butcherbox.com/PHLY and then use code PHLY. There you go. JP, if you're having anything on the grill, what are you making?
I'm a big steak guy. Love the steak. Medium rare. All right. None of that well done stuff, guys. Medium rare only. I love grilling, but you know what the worst part about grilling is, John? Is you forgetting something. Last minute stuff, like, you forget plates or whatnot. Yeah. That's why with our friends over at Rite Aid, guys, they hook us up with all the last minute needs. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Rite Aid this summer is going to be the summer center for last minute things. And I'm going to tell you why, all right? Because here's what the things that they offer here for all of our summer needs. Pool day supplies. I'm sure Johnny's going to need that as well this upcoming summer, all right? They got goggles, floaties, sunscreen. You can check out everything you need with one stop at Rite Aid Sunscreen. Guys, listen, please stay protected from that sun. It is not fun. Coming from me, sunburn is not fun, all right? They have you covered. It is the sunscreen center for the whole entire family. Listen, first aid supplies. Listen, we all know kids love to run around. They get a little excited in the summer, trip and fall. Here comes a boo-boo. You're going to need a Band-Aid, right? That's where they come into play. First aid supplies, stock up on bug spray and bandages. Guys, listen, mosquitoes love me. I have that sweet, sweet, sweet blood. That bug spray is definitely big. They have snacks and drinks, picnic supplies, and ice cream. Try the Thrifty ice cream here today. Pick up a container. I might pick up a couple, to be honest with you. And it's available exclusively at Rite Aid, all right? You can save $10 in Rite Aid bonus cash when you spend $501. This offer is available through June 1st. It's in-store only. You can visit riteaid.com/weekly deals. /weekly-deals. So you can find out all the deals they have weekly. Now, this offer is valid through June 1st, 2024. Purchase must be eligible products in a single transaction, excluding sales tax. And after all other applicable discounts are applied, limit 1 per transaction, redeemable only at the Rite Aid pharmacy stores, no cash given. Not valid if duplicated, not valid on prescriptions and copays, alcohol, tobacco products, lottery and money services, gift cards, prepaid cards, newspaper stamps, online purchases, mailing services, licenses, or items excluded by law. Lost, stolen, or damaged or expired coupons will not be honored or replaced. Not responsible for unintended redemption. Rite Aid Rewards account required. Cannot be combined with other offers as well. So thank you to our friends over Rite Aid and consider them for your summer needs this summer.
All right, thank you, JP. And I mean, listen, Rite Aid's got the deals. I'm a guy that likes deals. I shop. I go to like 5 different grocery stores to try to find deals. I need to go to Butcher Box now because they have a good deal as well. But anyway, Phil's lose last night. If you stayed up for it, sorry. That was a horrible game, losing 1-0 in extra innings. And it's another instance where they can't get the Ghost Runners home. And if you can't get Ghost Runners home, guess what? You're probably not going to win the game. So, yeah, it was a tough one last night. And he's not dressed like I thought he would look today because there's no salmon, there's no light blue.
There are flip-flops, though.
There are flip-flops.
Oh, yeah.
I like the tops.
Yeah, little T-shirts. Anytime you see a cheap T-shirt these days, you got to pounce. And I saw like I got an Instagram ad. It was like a cheap T-shirt
But
sale.
they're never. The Instagram
I
ads
know.
have not worked out for me. let me feel.
It's all right. It's all right.
All right. It's not
Yeah.
a new. It's not a
It's
like
not
a
the
bed
best in
sheet.
the world.
Yeah, it's not a cheap bed.
Yeah, that
sheet.
sucked last night, huh?
Yeah, no, like
I got to the 7th inning and I was like, all right, I'm in. I'll just see this out.
so you got to the point where you're already pot committed, and
Yeah.
then it goes to extra innings. You're like, oh my god. So if they lose, it's the worst night ever. If they win, at least you saw it.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't win.
And it sucked. Spencer, bleeping Howard. Four scoreless?
I said it to JP earlier. Nothing else could have happened in that game last night outside of injury that would have pissed me off more than Spencer Howard coming in and just throwing 4 innings scoreless.
What's
Oh
the
my
first?
God.
What's the first thing you think about when you think of Spencer Howard? Because I know mine.
I don't know.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Oh, because he got tired during
Because he got tired running to first base, and he said after the game that he didn't have enough protein during the game. Because I guess he would eat them in the dugout during the game to keep like his protein,
Does
like
the
his
dummy
energy
realize that peanut butter isn't a high protein food?
Or maybe it was caloric. Whatever.
No,
Whatever.
but that's
it
what he
was.
said.
It
No,
was
that's
something.
what he
Yeah.
said.
So I always think of peanut butter jelly sandwiches. So you got beat by peanut butter and jelly sandwich pitcher last night.
He must have had a couple of them before he went
Ridiculous.
out there. Spencer Howard. All right, so I heard you talking about it yesterday with Taijuan Walker because you were coming off a Taijuan Walker start.
Sure.
So let's actually start with that again before we talk about Castellanos. And we just had Todd Zolecki on, and it's frustrating to watch Taijuan Walker. And like, let's just say it. It's not a good contract. We know it's not a good contract. It's not likely to be a good contract. But if you take the money out of it, it's almost I don't want to say it's like Tobias Harris. But if you got over the fact that Tobias Harris was not a max player, he was a role player. And Tobias Harris wasn't a terrible player. They also didn't score in the last game of the 76ers career, put up a big goose egg. But the contract's bad. Like, he's giving you 6 innings, and Topper's keeping him in an inning too long, and I think almost all of these appearances. But I worry when you look at his stuff that he's going to start getting hit around. He's No, but at least he's giving you 6 innings, right? Like, if he's going to give up 5 runs, if his ERA is 5, but he gives you 6 innings every time, I don't care. Like that's he's your 5th starter. He's going to suck. Like, at least you're not killing the bullpen. The minute he starts killing the bullpen is when they're going to get him the hell out of there. And once they get him out of there, it's over. It seems like it's already pretty much over right now. But he does have a track record in Major League Baseball of being a better pitcher than he's pitching right now. I just don't see the stuff, Jamie. Like, he doesn't have the velocity. He's pitching at 91, 92. That slider that he throws a lot, it's like a hard slider, and it's up in the zone a lot.
Yeah.
He's getting swings and misses on that. I just worry that adjustments are going to be made, and he's going to start getting really smashed around.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at some of the advanced numbers on him right now, I think he's the 2nd worst in Major League Baseball in terms of getting barreled. I think he's top 10 worst in exit velo and hard hit percentage. Like, if he starts getting hit worse, he's going to become unplayable. Like, he's really bad. Like, you know, when you watch, obviously, a Nola or a Wheeler, and you'll see, like, the late movement across the plate. His get to the plate and just, like, freeze. Like there's no late
It's like
movement.
it's on a tee.
Yeah, and they're just he's hanging them out to get crushed.
Yeah.
Look, the contract sucks. It is what it is at this point. You can't do anything about it. But to your point, if he can be an innings eater, he's not going to play in the playoffs anyway. Rob already showed you that last year. So his goal now, like you said, is, keep you competitive in those games. I'm not a huge fan of the piggyback thing, but Spencer Turnbull, I think you got to keep a little bit like more 2 and 3 inning appearances than like just 1 inning appearances. So like I might just piggyback those two and try and keep him as a viable option. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is the rest of your rotation. Like Chris Sanchez is your number 4 starter. The dude's throwing
great
96, 97 with an unbelievable changeup. So you're blessed that you have a great starting rotation. You look at Dave Dombrowski, and we'll talk about Castellanos coming up here in a second. But you look at Dave Dombrowski, he's made so many great moves. The 2 glaring, terrible moves that he's made, signing Taijuan Walker and letting Zach Eflin go. And Zach Eflin has been, I don't know what he's been doing
but
down
still
there this
hurt.
year.
He was doing okay and got hurt again. It's the same.
It's what he did here.
Yeah,
but signing Walker to more or less replace Eflin in the starting rotation, he's been brutal.
Yeah, I mean Walker's one of the rare misses he's had. I'm not going to go call Castellanos a miss yet.
No,
it's not yet. No yet. But like the optics of it are horrible. $20 million, and you talk about like worst percentages in baseball.
One of the worst players in baseball.
Yeah. He's one of the worst right fielders this year, no doubt about it. And it's overpaid. But he gave you a year and a half of pretty good baseball. Like I don't want to forget that last year he was pretty good.
Well, I mean, until the NLCS, he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like the first 2 games in the NLCS,
he was
historic.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about a history.
Yeah, so I don't want to call him bad yet, but it's trending in the direction of bad.
So, and I didn't even know this, but I said it earlier in the show. Todd Zolecki had said it, where he was Castellanos was talking about how he's going up to the plate, and he was literally at the plate with the pitcher throwing the ball, thinking about chase rates, because everybody talked about his chase rate last year in the playoffs. And that's a bad place to be when you're up in the box thinking
you're cooked.
You're cooked. And that's the way he looks right now. He's so streaky. And for everybody out there that wants Castellanos benched right now, well, a couple things. A, you don't have an obvious replacement.
No.
You don't have somebody at AAA. The Phillies don't have a lot of good young position players in the minors.
Dahl's kind of that quad A guy. Like he's hitting the cover off the ball right now. But like, do you really want to do that? I mean, maybe.
Well, in a week or two, you may feel a little bit differently about it, Jamie.
Yeah.
But right now, you look at the type of player Castellanos has been in his career. He's streaky, and you got to give him a chance to come around. Rob Thompson, he batted him clean up last night. He's going to try to find a spot in the lineup to get him comfortable and try to get him back on track. Really, like Rob Thompson's biggest thing right now is managing Nick Castellanos and Taijuan Walker and how to figure out how to really get them going or get them on the right track. Castellanos has been frustrating for most of the year, but when the rest of the bats go cold, that's when it gets magnified. And that's when everybody's going to be like, oh, Castellanos, you suck. Mm-hmm. And he does. And it's hard. He's hard to watch at the plate a lot. But it's, you just got to try to ride it out. We're not even in June yet.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, he gets all 162 games. He's stressed to Rob Thompson and the team that he feels as though it's important for him to play all 162. Alec Boehm got a scheduled night off last night because he had played 18 straight games. It comes on the night of a butchering in the field.
Right.
Coincidence?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
They always tell you it's scheduled.
Yes.
But, like, if Alec Boehm can get a breather or a night, like, why does Nick Castellanos get 162 games?
Well, to your point, he shouldn't. But more to your point, Rob Thompson's a player's manager.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to have his guys back. I can't tell you how many times last year that I was like, what are you doing? You got to get that guy in the lineup. And he would hit a home run that night.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So Rob...
Every time you go, this is a AAA lineup, they go out and put up a 9 spots.
I don't want to get too crazy here, but Charlie Manuel used to be able to get guys going when they would get in slumps, right? Like when Charlie Manuel was at his best, first of all, his players were in their prime, but he was able to kind of know when to push buttons, when to give him a night off, when to let him play. And like right now, Toppers, he can't put him out there every night. Sometimes sitting and watching is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you know what, Jamie? He hasn't been good this year, Castellanos. What freaking pressure has he had in the line? He's had no pressure. Normally, a guy making $20 million a year has pressure to perform and produce. There's no pressure on Nick Castellanos. The rest of the lineup is producing, and the starting pitching's been historic. So if there was ever a spot where he's able to kind of fly under the radar, making $20 million a year in Philadelphia, it's amazing that he hasn't gotten more crap this year. But it's good. I mean, if the Phillies start to struggle, it's going right on him.
Oh, absolutely. And I've kind of joked around on the Phillies show that his brain kind of got fried this offseason, I think, with the biomechanics lab and swing consultants and chase rates and all this stuff. JT went into the lab and it worked for him. But JT, I think, is a very cerebral type of player, catcher, involved in every play, extremely locked in. Castellanos is kind of a himbo. You know what I mean? I said, he's got to undo another button, get a little sluttier in the box, and he just needs to swing. He's the type of guy to me that just needs to shut his mind off and react.
Oh, totally agree.
I don't think he's a guy that needs to worry about his front elbow being in I really think it's that simple for him. And it's probably hard to come out of now. I think he said 3 or 4 weeks ago, he's trying to think less up there.
And just go up and be aggressive and swing.
Yeah.
The problem is the book is that they're going to
low and
outside. He swings. Yeah. What would you throw him if you were up there?
Yeah, I mean, and maybe Liam getting up here for the summer will help him out or something. You know what I mean? Maybe he misses his kid. I don't know. But I don't want to say it's bad yet, but it's trending in that direction. You hope that he can bail himself out of this. Because to your point, I mean, you can't throw Christian Pache out there daily. Are you really bringing up Dahl from Lehigh?
No, the only thing that I would consider when Trey Turner comes back is if he's still struggling like this, you get Sosa some play out in right field. I mean, let me tell you, and I'm not going to be I almost tweeted it the other night just to tweak people, where it's we got controversy here. Yeah. Sosa shouldn't lose his job when Trey Turner comes back. I did. It is not my profession anymore to do sports talk radio in this town, so I don't have to do that kind of stuff anymore.
You're free, John. You're free.
But you want to get his bat in the lineup, and the extra bases he's been hitting. I mean, the dude's been he's
seventh in triples in baseball.
I know, he's got four triples. At some point, maybe he cools off.
Yes, he will,
and he will when they'll start. Maybe they'll stop throwing him as many fastballs as they throw him. But so you may see. And you know what? You can also get a platoon veteran outfield bat near the trade deadline. You can put in there at right field.
I'm growing increasing. I think every playoff team adds a bullpen arm, right? You can never have enough bullpen arms come playoff time. But I'm increasingly growing in the camp of either you got to play Marsh more and give him a chance to hit lefties and see if it's because I looked it up last night. I think it's 35 at bats versus lefties, which isn't a huge sample size, but he's hitting there's 18 strikeouts in those 35 at bats. He's hitting 140 or something.
And the thing with Castellanos, his defense isn't good.
No.
So at least Marsh is a good defender.
If you could get somebody that could platoon the corners, I'm increasingly growing interested in that type of decision. So, there's no doubt about it that Dave Dombrowski and the staff are going to go out at this trade deadline and try to increase this roster. So, if corner outfielder and bullpen is it, then so be it. Go get them.
All right. Today, 3:45, coming off a night game that went extra innings and they didn't hit, and it's the last game. Not a long road trip, but nevertheless, still
a weird one. Colorado and San Fran.
I was talking about this yesterday. Normally, you used to hit San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. The way I guess with how they play everybody in the league now, you don't have those as many extended trips.
Yeah. I guess with the interleague play and all that too, you got to balance it a little more. But yeah, just kind of a weird road trip. And San Francisco and Oracle Park is a house of horrors. Yeah. I saw the exact number in Rich Hoffman's daily newsletter here at PHLY the other day. I think it was really bad since 2014. I think
25 to 30 they've lost since 2014. So that look at they're 5-25. They have 5 wins out of 30
That's
games.
Unbelievable.
It's almost impossible.
So Rich tweeted out last night, and I completely agree with him. I'd rather play a 140 win juggernaut Dodgers type of team than go to San Fran in a 3-game series. You know what I mean? That is just a house of horrors for the Phillies. So get the hell back home. I'm not worried at all. I think this is just a funky road trip.
Yeah, I agree.
And now you got London coming up, which is going to be funky too. Did you see the projected Sunday matchup?
I did.
Tyler pointed this out last night. The poor people of London. Taiwan Walker versus Sean Manaea.
Yeah, they weren't worried about stacking the rotation. Hey, maybe there's a lot of offense.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be bad
That'd
for
be cool.
baseball over there.
Yeah. So it's good. Just get home. Just get home, boys. You got to right the ship here.
This is something we can also talk about in the clubhouse, but real fast. So
Is that a Steve Jeltz?
This is a Steve Jeltz jersey.
Autographed.
It's an autograph. And for the people out there that say this isn't his number, this was his number his rookie season. Steve Jeltz.
Wow. Look at that.
I bought this off eBay for almost nothing.
Really?
Yeah, some guy was like, Steve Jeltz, get rid of this damn thing.
It's the baby blue, which is great.
The jersey's awesome.
Now, does Pat Gallen, he's got to have a Steve Jeltz on his jersey. You know how he collects the jerseys seen in Citizens Bank Park?
He should.
He's got to have a Jeltz, I would think.
Well, anyway, and it's autographed. Yesterday was his 65th birthday.
Oh, happy
Steve
birthday
Jeltz.
there, Jeltz.
Happy birthday, Steve. Now, our friend Cindy Webster, who
Hey,
we used to work
Cindy.
with back in the sports radio days, she because she knows everybody that's ever played for the Phillies. So when I got this jersey, she's like, "Oh my God, I have Steve's number. I'll text you a picture." So I was taking a picture, like posing, like going like this. And so he thinks I'm this big fan.
Oh, that's hilarious.
The truth of it is, the one player that defines me as a Philadelphia Phillies fan is Steve Jeltz. And that may sound odd on its surface, but the Phillies after 1983 were so freaking bad for a decade, and they were my formidable years, right? Like if I asked a 27-year-old, like, what Phillies player defines you as a Phillies fan? They'd say like Roy Halladay or Chase Utley. Mine's Steve friggin' Jeltz, who sucked. He was a player in their farm system that, as a kid, I don't know that he wasn't going to be good. I'm thinking like, yay, Steve Jeltz is going to be awesome.
Name. Jeltz is a cool
He's
name.
a nice guy. I hope he doesn't see this, but like he wasn't any good. And like my heart was broken because the Phillies were never any good. He did hit home runs from both sides of the plate.
So you weren't a Michael Jack guy, huh?
Well, yeah, but like Mike
That was just like
he was done in 86 or 87.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course you were a big Mike Schmidt fan, but it was like Juan Samuel. I love Juan Samuel.
Yeah, Sammy.
Steve Jeltz comes up. So, yeah, so like when people ask me like who's your like favorite Philly, the Philly that defines me is Steve Jeltz because that was for all you spoiled Phillies fans out there that had all these great years when you were growing up. I had that 10 years of crap.
Yeah, the 90s were rough.
83 to 93. 93, they make the World Series, but then that was it. And then they sucked again until
I think they started out hot in 94, didn't they? And then the
strike. And then all those guys that were good in 93 got a year older, and the steroids were less. I mean, they got a year older. So anyway, all right. So are we going in the early clubhouse? Well, who's the Phillies player that defines your fandom? Would you say?
Wow. I always defended Bobby Abreu a lot.
It's a good one
Because, like you said, it was dark times, and you were just like waiting for that player. And I thought Bobby Abreu was criminally underrated in this town. Just because he made right field look effortless. Like the guy, just go look at his baseball reference
That's
page.
one way of putting him in right.
Well, he's not Aaron Rowan, John. He's not going to run into any walls, but he had a cannon of an arm. He played the position pretty well. He walked. He hit for power. He was just like, he was the light at the end of the tunnel of some bad Phillies years. So like,
that's a great answer because I remember Bobby Abreu. He used to come up to the plate and he'd go down 0-2 almost every at bat. He was more comfortable at 0-2, and then he would work the count, single.
Yeah. Gave you great at bats. It's something, I don't know. The guys with the ability with two strikes is pretty impressive. You're seeing it with Bohm right now. Even Stott too has shown you an incredible ability with two strikes against them. So like that's baseball to me is one with like two out runs and scoring when the pitcher thinks he's out of it. Like when you just demoralize a pitcher after like a 10 pitch at bat and two strikes and you get a big double or an RBI, like that's where games are won to me.
All right. Well, listen, we're going into the clubhouse. Is that what we got? Are you sticking around for the clubhouse? I know you're going at 11 o'clock.
Yes, we are 11 o'clock Philly show, so I'm probably going to bounce out and do a little bit of
all right, well,
final
go get ready.
preparation. Yeah, good hanging out.
Go get ready.
Go Phils. Get back east. Jesus.
Right, there he is. The bro, Jamie Lynch, who is totally out of what he normally looks like here at Jamie Lynch. But the pants do look very Jamie Lynch-ish. All right, so listen, we talked earlier about Ollipop, right? Oh, my God. Like, I'm enjoying this. I'm not kidding. The strawberry vanilla, thumbs up. But here's something that I know recently because I heard the guys talking about it. But you can get them at Wawa. Every friggin' Wawa out there, you want to try an Ollipop? You're like, I heard Ant talking about it. I heard Mark's talking about it. You can get an Ollipop pretty much everywhere. The world's first functional soda. Classic soda taste, but plant-based fiber, prebiotics. You need the prebiotics. And other botanical ingredients to support gut health. So not only is it good for you, only 2 to 5 grams of sugar. I'm diabetic, so that's something I need to control. And 9 grams of fiber per can. It's like I don't have to eat a pear anymore. I'm good with Ollipop, right? And available online in 30,000 retailers nationwide, including most recently all Wawa stores. Everybody goes to Wawa. All right, so listen, the debut in Wawa has been amazing. A delicious, healthy drink, meeting a convenience store that is adored by everybody in the Philadelphia area. And geez, you know what? You ever go down to Florida? Wawa's are over Florida as well. So strawberry vanilla, that's at Wawa. Classic root beer that I haven't had yet. They're the 2 most popular flavors. So here, use the code PHLY20 for 20% off their next Ollipop order. That only applies to one-time orders, not subscription orders. And that's online at drinkollipop.com and Amazon, and available in almost 30,000 retailers nationwide, including Wawa, Target, Sprouts, Wegmans, ShopRite, and GoPuff. Again, drinkollipop.com. Use the code PHLY20, 20% off. There you go. Ollipop.
Awesome stuff, John. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is currently 10:25 in the morning here on the Anthony Gargano Show. Listen, John Marks, you've been killing it today, buddy.
My man.
Great job today. All right, guys, so listen, here's what we got going on, right? So if you're watching live on YouTube, first off, thank you so much for watching live. Make sure you guys hit that like button, especially if you're enjoying today's show. Then make sure you guys are subscribed. Once you subscribe, you'll see that bell button. Click on that bad boy. You'll know exactly when the Anthony Gargano Show is live. We're also available on podcast streaming sites as well. If you're on the road, going to work, taking the kids to their practice, pop on the Anthony Gargano Show on the podcast. You can tell Siri, hey Siri, play the Anthony Gargano Show, and they will play it for you right away. Here's what's on the docket here at PHLY Sports. Here's our schedule today. Following us at 11 a.m., you'll see PHLY Phillies. Yeah, I know they're going to talk about that game again from last night, but hey, they'll be having fun doing it. So that's at 11 in the morning. At 12, we have PHLY Eagles. At 1 o'clock, PHLY Flyers podcast with Bill and Charlie. At 2:30, you got Kyle, you have Devon, you have Derek at PHLY Sixers. That's what's on the docket here at PHLY Sports. And just real quick, talking about PHLY Phillies, just want to give you guys a quick heads up that this upcoming June 8th and June 9th, that weekend, we all know what it is. It's the London series, right? Well, we all can't go to London. I get that. It sucks. I wish I was going to London like our executive producer, Jules. But if you guys are in the area, we got you covered here at PHLY because we'll have you with the watch parties not only for Saturday, but for Sunday as well. But the Saturday one, that's where the gist is, guys. So on Saturday, that one will start at 12:30. On Sunday, it'll be at 9 a.m. And keep an eye here. So they'll be at both at Goal & Co., but the Saturday one will be at the Rockledge location. The Sunday one will be in Port Richmond. You guys want to come and hang out. You'll be hanging out with our PHLY Phillies crew. There'll be Miller Lite specials. There'll be ticket giveaways as well, guys, and especially Goal & Co.'s great selection of food as well. So make sure you guys will head on over to allphly.com/events. You'll find all the information, and make sure you guys RSVP to let us know you're going to come and hang out. Of course, you guys want to make sure you are a diehard because you'll be the first to know about all these events. Of course, you'll get the access into the Discord chats. You can interact with all of us here at PHLY. And then, of course, like we talked about, when the Cuz is back, we'll be re-implementing those video calls. You need all the instructions in the Discord chat. You also get all the exclusive content from our beat writers, great stuff that they put out there exclusively for the diehards, discounts on merchandise. You see me rocking the swag every single day here. So make sure you guys are becoming a diehards. In just a little bit, guys, we'll be having the Clubhouse here today. Johnny, myself, and VG and Andrew Frazier, of course, will be having a little bit of fun. So stay tuned.
Clubhouse. Sponsored by Trumark Financial Credit Union. The Anthony Gargano Show presented by Trumark Financial Credit Union. Check out trumark.com/PHLY or stop into your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at Trumark Financial today. It's VG and JP.
Got Frazier in the box.
What's
going
up?
on?
Can we all just chill with Nick Castellanos? He's getting destroyed today.
Castellanos, dude.
Liam's on his way. Relax.
So is
the
that-
kid comes up in June.
That's the secret
Everything
sauce.
comes back to normal.
Yeah, bring
You know?
Yeah. No, I
good.
mean, listen,
What's he
now-
going to look this bad with his kid in the front row? No.
I definitely would sit him here today. Have him ready for Friday.
Oh, for sure. No, Fred, like there's no like. I'm glad he wants to play 162 games. I don't care, right? Like,
He needs to.
sometimes you need to sit down. And by the way, like you shouldn't want to play 162 games. Isn't it better for your body to take, even if it's 10 days off?
Especially when you have plans
I
for a
don't
deep
know.
run.
For me, yeah, but I mean, he's a machine.
Yeah, but so like this. I never liked Cal Ripken because like everybody else in the world loved Cal Ripken. Like, oh, Cal Ripken. I never liked him because I felt he was selfish and never wanting to take a day off.
You hate that record?
So I do. I hate it. I hated him. So
He's out on the Cal Ripkins.
totally
Iron Man
out.
record.
So the away teams used to stay on the Parkway at the Four Seasons. You know what I'm talking about, BG?
Yep.
And used to have the autograph seekers that would just camp outside right on, like, because there was like a statue to sit on or whatever. And I used to live down the street, so I was walking, and I just happened to be like, oh, yeah, the Orioles are in town. So like, the bus is right there. They're going to be coming out to the bus in a second. And sure enough, Cal Ripken came out or whatever, like, Cal, you suck. I started screaming at him.
You did?
Yes.
You heckling?
And I'm
Cal?
not a heckler. I couldn't help it.
That guy's was he walking to the bus to go to work and you're heckling him?
So they were coming out of the hotel. He had like no uniform on, backpack, and he was walking to the bus, and I yelled, Cal, you suck.
You're a bum.
Could you imagine walking into the building today and people be like, yo, Johnny Mars, you suck. All you
Yes,
gotta
I
do
could
is go to
actually.
work.
I could. Yeah, well, listen, he's making a lot more money than me. But anyway, yeah, so I was anti-Cal Ripken, and I let him know about it. It wasn't pre-planned. It wasn't premeditated to where I'm like, I'm going to go. I just happened to be walking by, and they're like, oh, yeah, Cal Ripken's coming out. There were a lot of people that were trying to get his autograph.
Yeah, I have friends who do that, but you just couldn't resist your body. Could not
No,
resist the
because he's
urge to scream at
selfish.
them.
He's selfish. Who needs to play that many games in a
Good for
row?
you.
So what?
Good for you, man. I like that.
Mark's a rageaholic over here.
Right, but like you're telling me that there wasn't points in his career where he should have taken a night off and maybe it would have served the team better or allowed a younger player to get in. Oh, so whoever the backup shortstop is, they're never going to be able to play. Oh, awesome, Cal. Thanks. Totally out on Cal Ripken.
You are the first person I've ever met who hates on Cal Ripken because of this record.
I know. And I still feel that way today.
Yeah.
Although it was pretty cool how his career ended. But anyway, you have some
Yo, can I
nugs
go
for
on?
us.
I mean, I have to live up to the name. Violations on all you. Nobody stayed up and watched the game last night?
No. Well, I fell asleep.
Lame. Yeah, Julia, of course.
I mean, thank God I
Of
did.
course,
That's
Julia.
a bad game to
It's a
stay up.
pitcher's duel, man.
Pitcher's
Zack
duel.
Wheeler in the bullpen.
Wheeler was good last night.
Peanut butter and jelly, man.
Guys are rough.
Andrew, did you stay up for the game last night?
I stayed up until the 8th inning, and then I was like, you know what? I can't do it anymore. I got to go to bed.
0-0 is tough, man.
Yeah.
It's
tough, yeah.
The drama's over. 7th inning, 0-0 drama's over. I'll go to bed. Like, what are you guys doing?
I am weak. I am weak-hearted.
It's disappointing.
Once I start falling asleep, but are you a late night guy though?
I mean, I normally am, but not anymore.
I am
Not
not.
now that I'm getting up at 6 to get here and stuff. No. But, you know, it's the Phils. How many times are they on the West Coast?
So when
6 games a year, you can't stay up?
remember as a kid, and VG's like this still, but JP, when you're a kid and you're happy because
Yes.
the games are on late.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
they're in
sure.
Los Angeles, this is awesome. Bro, I don't even try half the time, to be perfectly honest. I have no shot.
No, I mean, I'll wake up early to finish. That's what DVR's for.
You DVR it, exactly. I
Technology,
DVR it.
man. Technology.
Well, you probably don't have DVR. You still have DVR?
I have YouTube TV, yeah. I record all the games, and I watch them whenever I need to, whenever I want.
I record everything too.
Yeah, it's awesome. Then you can rewatch it,
And
too.
Sports Center I record. And
You
whatever
guys,
they have
listen,
on
you guys
top.
aren't roofers. You work in the sports industry. You can't stay up and watch the game.
Listen.
Like, come on.
No, and let me have this angle right here. And you don't realize it until you're in a good studio with good lighting or whatever. I need to wear makeup or something. These bags are bad.
You
man.
look good, man.
No. And that's because I didn't go to sleep on time last night.
No, you look good.
I like to. I
like a
to
good
be
like Kenny Loggins look. Nice and good hair. Look good, solid beard.
Is this when Kenny Loggins was cool? Or?
Yeah,
man.
Never cool. Loggins, Messina, right into like.
I seem to remember
The soul.
when he wasn't cool.
What?
Really?
When he's doing the song for Top Gun was cool,
Well, I mean,
right?
it was cool, man.
Danger Zone.
Yeah.
I love that
By the way,
song.
this man's staying up every night. He's got the Oilers. His Oilers are.
Yeah, you got to watch
Our
this West Coast
contention.
hockey. You got to stay up late.
All right. So
Yeah, it's tough.
can I get the cliff notes of why you're an Oilers fan?
Just like 3 years ago, my buddies and I decided we loved and missed having a rooting interest in playoff hockey. So once the Flyers are eliminated, we picked a West Conference team, and it had to be Canadian. So we went with the Oilers.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, just to enjoy the playoffs a little
See what
more.
you did, Flyers.
So I got into the Bruins Florida series a little bit because there was fights. See, I love fights in hockey.
Oh, it's
There
the
needs
best.
to Andrew, there needs to be more violence in
is this
hockey.
the back
I
in the
agree.
day moment by Rite Aid? Steve Jelt's jersey, hockey fighting. What are you in 1984? What are we doing?
and that's sponsored by Rite Aid.
That's sponsored by Rite Aid, baby.
There you go.
Fighting in hockey.
Bring back the fights. Bring back the
I
line
agree.
brawls.
They're like modern day gladiators on ice. You know, you want the blood, you want the punching, you want the fighting. We need it. It's like our primal instinct. We need that aggression. We don't get it anymore in
Dude,
sports.
but you see, like I remember when Jamie Drysdale first came to Philly in that first game. I see him skate around in that power play. Like, it's something about like seeing some of the skill in these players too. Like, back then, you could be a little bit of,
I like a combination.
Okay.
Like I don't need the Flyers muckers and grinders. Everybody wants a team of third line players. It's
so
nice to see the skill.
That's why the Panthers are fun, because they do both. If you want finesse, they'll do that. If you want, a muck and grind type of game, they'll do that as well. That's if you're Danny or Keith, watch the Florida Panthers. That's how I want you guys to rebuild.
Give me the finesse all day. Anyway, I was out and about this weekend. Saw a guy wearing a shirt. I want to know if either of you guys would wear a shirt like this. It was weird that it was a Milwaukee Brewers shirt
Okay.
at the South Street pop-up beer garden. And he's like buttoned down Milwaukee
weird
Brewers shirt. Would you? Well, first of all, would you
No.
wear a Philly shirt like that? And
No,
second of all, would
what
you wear a
is
Philly
that?
shirt like that in Milwaukee? Just a weird combination.
So my
altogether.
wife actually was looking at I almost wore a Hawaiian shirt today because I have a lot of Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah.
I went with this instead, but so I was trying it on last night, and my wife's like, "I almost bought you a Hawaiian for Father's Day. I almost bought you a Phillies Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
It was $110. So she's like, it was $110.
expensive.
I'm like, no, I'm way too cheap for you to be buying that. But it was really cool. So I guess to answer your question,
You would.
yeah, I would.
Yeah?
I would.
I mean, I have a Hawaiian shirt they gave away on Father's Day. I've never busted it out.
Are you a Tommy Bahama guy? Is that your type of Hawaiian shirt, Tommy Bahama?
No. I mean, yes, maybe that look, but I don't have Tommy Bahamas. I have I don't know.
Well, you're like an OG. You lived there for a bit, right?
I did. So I lived on Oahu for 2 years back. It's actually 20 years ago that I lived there, which is like weird to think, but yeah. So I don't know. I'm an app shopper. So like the Bloomingdale's app, the Express app, I'm looking for deals.
There you
Timu?
go.
Huh?
Timu?
Timu.
Yeah. You don't do
So
Timu?
Timu Solani, he was great with the light.
He was great on
Back in the
NHL
day.
94.
But anyway, yes, I'd wear that shirt.
All right.
Why not?
JP?
First off, is that a jersey or a shirt?
No, it's a jersey. It's a button down.
All right, I'm out on it.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
out
it's a
on it.
jersey.
No, it's a button down shirt.
It's a shirt.
Yeah. You guys have
I
got
saw
me so
yesterday
confused.
Aeropostale shirts sells Sixers baseball shirts. Which I was out on. My fiance was like, "Would you wear that?" And I'm like, "No, I'm out
Sixers
on that."
baseball shirt.
Yeah, it was a Sixers baseball shirt. Aeropostale sells them for the NBA teams. I think they got the licensing with the
I'm
NBA.
out.
Yeah, I was out on that too.
I'm out.
As much as I love my Sixers.
All right, Jersey's got a divide over this meat that's circular. You fried up a breakfast Taylor pork roll, Taylor ham. I found a scoreboard ad from back in the day that clearly says Taylor pork roll on it. And it's paid for by the company.
We will always argue with.
So I
them
think
up
we're
there.
good with the pork roll.
That's
I think
awesome.
It's
I
pork
love
roll.
that shot.
Look at that.
Yeah, I feel like that you're not.
the scoreboard is so confusing. I was trying to figure out what was going on it. Like,
Wait.
yes, there's out of towns.
Weren't you just drinking Ballantine beer
Yeah,
this weekend?
Yeah,
Is
like
this Connie
Valentine?
Mack?
yeah, just from Connie Mag. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
I love that
that's
stuff.
pretty cool. No, I mean, I actually saw some of this on social media, as well. And I bought Taylor pork roll at the grocery store because I wanted my youngest to try it. And she liked it 'cause she likes bacon. My other kids won't eat bacon.
American cheese, pork roll.
So we actually did it. I made eggs. I made like a platter. I made eggs and a side of pork roll and toast. But pork roll and cheese without eggs, I go. Put a little bit of ketchup and mustard on there if you need to.
There you go.
Fried onions.
Eggs,
Yeah.
pork roll, cheese, and onions.
Yep.
All
Pork
right.
roll, cheese, fried onions. You can go ketchup. You can go ketchup or mustard. I like it with eggs. I like it on the side with a platter. But it's definitely pork roll.
That sounds good, man.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's delicious. Yeah, but everybody agrees? Pork roll?
Yeah,
Pork
of
roll.
course.
Of course, yeah.
Ham, Taylor ham.
I think that's more of a New York thing. Or
It's like the central, it's like North Jersey. There's a dividing lines. There's studies about it.
I
It's
lived,
like maybe
I lived up
Edison
there for a
area.
year in North Jersey, and I would go to bagel spots are huge up there. I would go up and order, pork roll, and be like, pork roll. They get like,
Oh, really? They get mad?
oh yeah, they're like, nah,
what
Taylor ham.
planet are you
You're
from?
like, you must be from Philly. Yeah, of course I'm from Philly.
Do you like to slice it yourself? Pork
I've
roll?
never done that, but I would definitely do that because
Pretty good.
I like because I do like it thin.
Yeah, it comes in like
And
a tube.
it's thicker when you buy the Taylor at the store. The pieces are pretty
they're
thick.
typically thicker. Yeah, like
And,
bologna
like,
slices.
Because I grew up working at sandwich shops, and before you were 18 and allowed to use the slicer, I was still using it. And you do, it's a very you don't want to get it too thin, but you don't want to get it too thick because I like it well done. My pork roll,
Yeah, I agree.
it's delicious.
How about deli? So I worked at a butcher shop too, deli. Like you go thin with your deli meats.
Yeah, thick on the cheese, thin on the meats.
And honestly, like when I go to the grocery store, I won't buy cold cuts when there's certain people that are working because I know that they're going to slice it too thick. Even when you say slice it thin.
No, you got to go extra thin.
Well, so
Or,
and then
chipped or shaved.
Then they'll hold it up and they'll be like, "Is this thin enough?" And it's not. But I'll be like, maybe a little bit thinner. It doesn't matter. So it's easier just to avoid those people.
Yeah.
And then come back a different.
If I can't see through it, it's too thick.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Are you guys Scrapple guys? Do you guys like Scrapple?
I love Scrapple.
You know, the breakfast meats?
No, you weirdo.
I know. I don't like it. I
love
think it's
it.
gross.
I'll admit it. I'll love it.
I would eat it with ketchup if it was well done, but I'm not ordering.
Yeah,
it
definitely
out
well
of
done. You can't be medium rare on that. That's weird.
You like your steaks medium rare, JP?
Yeah, I found a graphic of someone plotted out teams that had 400-yard games of passing. And it's hard to see, but the Chiefs have 7 games with 400 yards or more of passing since like 2020. The Eagles have none. They're all the way at the bottom. I was
saw the rushing
surprised
one.
about that. I
Yeah,
thought the Eagles would have like a couple in there.
But I mean, think about it. They were a rushing heavy team until I guess periods of 2022 and then last year.
Yeah.
By the way, take anything that Dove guy puts up there with
Yeah,
what it is.
he's coming up in a
it's
little
true.
bit. He's coming up later. Peter Gammons is the only person in the world trying to say something nice about Angel Hernandez.
Isn't it great? Dude, I actually thought about it. Angel Hernandez retired. Yeah. And he's made
no, that's the selfie Angel Hernandez took. That's the greatest joke.
But has there ever been more
He's like
celebrating?
completely out of frame.
Honestly, when Osama bin Laden was killed and we found out during the Phillies game, I feel like more people celebrated when Angel Hernandez announced that he was retiring from baseball.
Yeah,
And the,
the
shot,
whole
and the
world
shots
party.
that were the shots that were. Well, I mean, I saw respected journalists that were taking shots at him in tweets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you put that up again, Andrew?
Let me
so I
see-
can
yeah,
read
let me see that.
from Peter
The
Gammons?
picture or the tweet?
Oh, the tweet.
Yeah, I got you.
An umpire's life is exceptionally tough, from the 6 a.m. flights to TV commentators second guessing every call. May Angel Hernandez spend a peaceful life and never again get booed.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, man.
Come on.
Oh, shut up, Peter Gammons.
Get outta
Go
here.
away. You retire next.
Yeah.
So he's 30 some years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so Hernandez base salary, according to an article I'm reading right now,
was
what
curious about
would you
that.
think it is?
He's been there a while. I think they start like $120. So I'll say 210.
400,000.
Wow.
According to this
400,
article from a reputable website,
$400K to be bad at your job. That's
$400,000, which increases to
Holy
$430.
What was that severance plan, huh?
What's his pension going to come
Right.
in at?
So what happened was baseball finally, I'm sure he was ready for it as well.
Oh,
But
yeah.
baseball was like, let's just buy you out.
Yeah.
Right?
But
Like you. So he has a pension on top of it.
Yeah.
This dude, that's why I say screw you to Peter Gammons. I get it. Athletes make a lot of money. No one wants to do crappy in their job or be booed or yelled at or whatever. But he's lived a pretty damn good life to be making that much money.
2 decades, right? Did I see that right?
30 years, over 30 years.
3
And
decades.
bro,
ago.
and like these guys get vacation. They don't have to work 162 and then boom. They get vacation where they can leave for a week at a time, 2 weeks at a time.
Plus, they're off from like October to March.
Bro, give me a break. This guy, he should be praying when he goes to bed every night that he's had this kind of year.
That pension's got to be insane.
Unbelievable.
And he's like arrogant about, like, if you question him.
He sued the league
yeah.
for discrimination. It's like, bro, you have a job.
Get out of here, Peter Gammons.
They stopped putting him in World Series and things like that. And it's like, well, duh. Every metric out there says you suck.
Literally.
I went to school with a major league umpire, Alan Porter, he's thrown some people out, made some, I don't know, bad calls, but he's been where I'd be like, hey, I know Alan Porter. At least I did in 1988 or whatever. But yeah, so he went to, like, when he was, I guess he went to college, and then he went down to the Florida State League, and he started where you're making like $5,000 a year, and you're doing games, and you work your way up. And he's been in the majors for a while now. He's a crew chief.
Oh, so he's got to be making bank too.
VG, would you do that job?
No. It's the worst job.
You wouldn't want to be an ump?
No.
Andrew?
Maybe. I don't know.
Once they come out with automated balls and strikes, I'd consider it. But
then you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, just safe or out or foul or fair. It seems pretty easy.
What, JP? What would your call strike 3 be? Would you be real like?
Oh yeah,
real arrogant.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know, guys.
Sit down, son.
There used to be, remember Dutch Renner?
Yes.
He used to go strike 1. He would literally step out of his umpire box and point like that.
They were cool times. I used to like, remember the umps who wore they held up like the big chest protector in front of them? It was like a big giant heart pad.
Yeah.
They held it up. I miss those days.
Yeah, no, I would never. And I'm coaching my kids now in softball.
Nice.
But I would never be an umpire
it's a
at any
job.
level.
Nah.
Now, for that money, I would maybe be an umpire, but whatever. All right, what else?
So maybe Peter Gammons was smoking weed. Some guy, Bark, tweeted out, I've never met a rich and successful person who smokes weed. Not even once. And this guy responded, Rick Steves, the PBS travel guy.
No, what?
Yeah, holding up cannabis and cups and stuff. He retweeted
In
this
the
out.
wine class.
Yes. It was
All right,
awesome.
Chopin.
All right, so here's my question. Who the hell is Bark, and how dumb is he?
I don't know, but it's a thing that went a little. I mean, it's good for him because
think I
a
like
lot of
your
people
quote
were
tweet.
retweeting it.
I like your
bet.
quote tweet with Seth Rogen.
Oh, Seth Rogen. Yeah, I mean,
So,
this guy.
yeah.
But Rick Steves, I was blown away. That's why he's so like chill on PBS. Why he's touring Europe.
All right, so
He's all blazed up.
this guy looks like a Bitcoin guy.
I was gonna say the Bitcoin.
Oh, he's a Bitcoin.
He's got
Even I know him.
89,000 followers, but if that's Bitcoin related, then I can't take him seriously. I don't like. This isn't 1995 where we're calling marijuana a narcotic, and it's it's like, oh, you have heroin or like marijuana. It's the same thing. Like same thing as a drug.
It's a gateway.
Like when my local newspaper, if somebody was to get pulled over with a small amount of marijuana, it was like he robbed a bank or something like that. It's like, Jesus Christ, he's in the newspaper for having marijuana, but he's smoking reefer.
Lay out his dime bag on a table with a picture of it.
I don't know if Bark Media realizes how many people are smoking weed these days. Successful, rich,
And eating.
and
Smoking
eating.
or
Yeah,
eating.
like come on,
Yeah.
man. That's like a Nancy Reagan type take.
At
Yeah.
the NBA, he's smoking weed.
Give me a break.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned Dove climbing. So I got to do a retraction. We talked about Hayden
Yeah.
Hopkins yesterday having a baby with Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders. Not a true story, but she did, I guess, say who the dad was. And it's Joey Gallo, the baseball player who consistently hits 30 home runs and 180.
Correct. A lot of strikeouts.
Yeah,
Look at that crusty man, Mark Davis.
It's anytime I can put a picture of Mark Davis up with that haircut.
Disgusting human
But he
being.
actually looks okay in that picture.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not that he looks okay, but if you compare that
he
to
looks
other.
great. You're right. He looks great.
But if you-
Healthy, good hair. Yeah.
I thought rich people were supposed to look
Yeah,
good,
right.
not like that.
He has.
That's when you got FU money, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Get an ugly haircut. Like
And
that.
I'm not telling you Al Davis was an Adonis or anything like that. He didn't look like that though.
Yeah, but the slick back hair was
He was
classic.
He had coolness.
That was classic.
Yeah, Mark.
But
Davis.
this-
Not the bowl cut.
Yeah, he literally asked for the bowl.
The Dutch boy bowl cut.
So, yeah, I don't get it. So Dove put it out there, and I saw it, and My reaction was I literally typed it in the reply to it. He deleted the tweet, but he put it out there. He put congratulations to Raiders owner Mark Davis, and I don't even know who the girl
I don't know
is.
who she is.
Right, like whatever. And I was like, are we even sure that he's the father? I'm like, I didn't see that we're like supposedly it was his girlfriend. It's not even his girlfriend. They're not even dating. She sat next to him.
Next to each other once.
The problem at the basketball game, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was like mid-quarter to basketball
You really
game.
deep dove into this one.
I did more research on this than the Phillies game
Yeah,
from last night. BG.
Hayden Hopkins is, from what Google says, a content creator and in parentheses dancing. So TikToker, is that what?
So she's
TikTok, right?
She's rich
Yeah.
and famous from social media,
TikTok.
which is a real thing.
Yeah.
More power to her.
Was a real thing. And the problem with Dove, and I'll be honest, like there's certain people that, for somebody that has done media and did radio for 20 years, right? The way that you research and you look for stories and things has changed. Like for Philly sports, I can go to PHLY's Twitter or Instagram, or like John Clark is a reporter. He gives you everything. Adam Schefter. And Dove is one of these guys that he constantly has everything out there, so you use him.
Yep.
Almost as like, all right, well, what's going on in the NFL? Oh, look, I can just go to this guy's Twitter page. Yeah. But the problem is he's just taking other, he's not actually reporting everything. He's aggregating it. And if he's dumb and he's not actually looking at it from common sense or like looking for another source, he just puts whatever up there.
Yep.
So that's what he does. Poor Dove.
Poor Dove. Big news this morning broke. I don't know if y'all like panda bears.
Love them.
Panda.
Who doesn't
I
love
like the Panda Express, the combination platter.
I like
Where's that?
In a mall near you, probably.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know what
Panda
you're
Express.
saying.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Not bad.
Good.
It's functional. It's not the best Chinese food you'll have.
I'd rather a mom and pop, but it's not bad.
Do you spend time in malls these days? I haven't been to a mall in a while.
Dude, it's depressing.
Cherry Hill Mall.
Well, Cherry Hill
man.
Mall is
I go,
still live and well. But,
It's nice. Yeah, Cherry Hill Mall is very nice.
But Echelon Mall is like not even existing. Morristown Mall is on its way.
The smaller malls are like the King of Prussia Mall is still very.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
alive and well.
I have the outlets up by me,
Okay.
which isn't a mall, but it has a food court. And I was in there last week, and they did have because what places do you have in a food court?
Pizza.
Pizza, cheesesteak,
like Subway,
burger place,
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A a lot of times, and you have to have the Chinese food.
The Chinese. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The $5 platter was
I've
awesome.
never had Chinese food in a mall.
Used to love it
Really?
when I was younger.
Master Walk in the Willow Grove Mall growing up. Yeah, Master Walks.
Oh man, you guys are weird.
I wouldn't do it. I'm out on that.
See, like
VG's.
city bougie, like, you're eating chain restaurants
in the mall.
You like Chinese food?
Yeah, that's
I like Chinese food.
What's your go-to the Chinese spot?
I go to Mustard Greens down on 3rd Street. I go to Chinatown.
There you go.
pop
That sounds
around.
good though.
Dave Dewars, he says Panda Express is the Arby's of Chinese food.
We'll see. I like
and
Arby's.
I love Arby's.
Dude, Arby's
yeah, I
is
like
so
Arby's.
gross. I'm out on that.
I love it. There used to be a place that's no longer open called Long River on Market Street. It was 21th and Market. Do you remember the Forum movie theater? Was an adult movie theater on Market Street
Oh
at
my
21st.
god! Yeah, we learned this last week.
Not too long ago. It was right next to the Long River. So you had this disgusting, dirty Chinese place, and the Forum
Next to a porn theater?
No, but the thing is, like, because
You need an after meal, man.
I lived in high rises down on the Parkway, Parktown Place, and they used to drop off the menus just like when they would do a delivery on the floor. They would put a menu on every one. So I don't know what this place looks like. I just pick it up and it's like, oh, go General Tso's combination platter for $6. I'm in. And then you see what the place looks like. I'm not ordering from that place anymore, man.
Parktown Place, fancy guy. Must have some bank back in the day.
3-bedroom under $2,000.
Wow.
So anyway,
Long
the
time
big
ago.
news is the giant pandas are coming back to the National Zoo. This is a big deal. There's only been giant pandas at the San Diego Zoo recently because China took them all back. They're all on loan. And they are a sign of our relationship with China. When we have good relations with China, they loan us giant pandas for your
Soccer
zoos.
players so you get loaned out.
Yeah. So
I do not
This year
believe.
they
I do
will be
not
at the zoo.
believe. I do not believe we have a good relationship with China.
apparently the pandas says otherwise.
Well, I hope that's true.
Yeah. It's a sign of goodwill, perhaps.
Do you like going to zoos? Are you a zoo guy?
I don't love zoos.
No.
No.
Well, I guess you do now with the kids.
So we went to the Philly Zoo, and I was like kind of disappointed. I didn't realize they don't put the tigers in the cages anymore. Then they walk like just pace back and forth. That's inhumane, and it is. But the last time I was at a zoo, They're like 20 tigers, and the things just pace, and then they go outside and they come back in. They don't do it anymore. So we went to the Phillies Zoo. There's no animals. So like one gorilla.
Did you go in like December?
No, went in like it was spring, summer. I think it was like the in between, like probably like right around now, maybe in June.
Are you a
something
Cape
like
May
that.
Zoo guy?
Went to the Cape May Zoo last
I like
year.
that
It was
better.
awesome.
I like that better than the Phillies.
Yeah,
Zoo.
we went last year. One of the days it was kind of rainy, and we went down, and the kids loved it. There's also the Elmwood Park Zoo up by me in Norristown.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I've
That
been
is a
there.
really good one.
Yeah.
Good for the
didn't know
kids.
that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
You feed the giraffes. It's not all that busy.
Yeah.
like
I can't
that.
do this. I enjoy a zoo, but my partner the whole time is pointing out what's inhumane and cruel. The whole and it's just a downer. So she takes all the. I'd like to go to the zoo with you,
But
perhaps.
a lot of times,
Not my partner.
these things are in zoos for a reason. If it was in the wild, it would be.
Yeah.
Whatever happened with Wally the alligator? Was there a finale to that?
Was that the
Gritty's emotional.
yeah, emotional
It
support
was an
thing?
emotional support alligator. The guy was mad that they wouldn't let it in the
Yeah.
Caesars Bank Park. No, someone took him as a prank, and he ended up like getting away. And
Hopefully, it's at a gator sanctuary somewhere.
no, so what I heard about that was that if you put a gator like that in like a gator farm or whatever, it'll be dead because he's like that's like putting a dog there because he doesn't he can't fight in the wild. You can go up and pet him and he doesn't bite you.
Oh, right.
Little domesticated alligator.
Anyway, all right, they all your nuggets.
No,
Give me
We
more.
want to feel good.
Give me more. Yes.
Here's a Ryan Howard picture. How long has it been since we've seen that pose? Ryan Howard up at bat, holding his bat out, waiting for the pitcher to start his windup. He was the hero of the East-West Hall of Fame Classic game this weekend, where he hit a 3-run dinger as player of the game.
Look at that.
Look at
outta
that. I
here.
missed that stance of Howard.
I still love
fun.
man. Brings up a lot.
Yeah.
brings up a lot
Come
of memories.
August, he starts heating up.
I still when I see these guys and you see J-Roll on the TV broadcast and you see the gray that's in their beards
Yeah.
or whatever, and it's like you look back and you're like, man, that was such a cool time. Jason Worth, I saw there was a video. Jason Worth, did he have 3 home runs in a game or something recently, like the anniversary? And it was before he grew his hair long,
Yeah.
and he had the short hair, and it's like he looked like
right?
that here. I don't even remember.
He was the original Marsh, man.
Super weird.
Yeah, and he now he just hit home runs and he plays in some semi-pro league or something.
Really?
And some dude came up throwing
Jason
like,
Worth?
Yes.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he was
Did you
crushing
see
home-
it?
I did. Yeah, he was crushing home runs.
Somebody left a ball up in the zone, and he just very easily hit it, like mashed it, man. And the video was from like behind the fence, like kind of like right here, and man, did he crush it! And he's got the long hair. It's Jason Worth, also a very underrated, underappreciated Philadelphia Philly. I know he left.
Yeah, he was pivotal to that team.
Man, he was so good.
Clutch.
He may have rubbed some people the wrong way with his comments after, but you're right.
He has that kind of personality.
Yeah.
He does.
I mean, he chased the money. All right, before we get out of here, Bill Walton, I was still bummed out. I watched a lot of videos last night.
too.
And the weirdest one I came across where he's playing defense, and for some reason he has a shoe in his hand.
He's trying to throw the shoe.
Yeah. And someone throws a shot up, and he throws his shoe up in the air to try and block the ball. I don't know.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Our screen share is
Only
acting a
Joel
little
Embiid would've
funky
done
here.
Yeah, we might
Against the
we might have
Raptors.
video of it, we might not. But I think if you just search on Twitter,
You'll find
Bill
it.
Walton shoe.
I saw it in a couple different spots. Yeah. If you Google Bill Walton shoe, you are guaranteed to watch that as many times.
Dude,
as
he
you
was
want.
It's
fun,
classic, one of a kind. I've never seen it happen before. I don't know why he did it, but it was
Yeah.
interesting.
So I'm not old enough to remember the 77 when he played with the Trailblazers, beat the 76ers.
Yeah.
I remember I hated him when he was a Celtic, when he won the other championship.
Yeah.
So a lot of us remember him as a broadcaster or his
Yeah.
post-playing career. Obviously, it's like the UCLA and the stuff he did in college was unbelievable. But my first thoughts after hearing that he passed was, and JP and Andrew, you can probably relate to this, was booking him as a guest. And I don't know when you started strictly texting people rather than calling them for booking them. But my old boss, when I worked at the Fanatic, used to be like, don't text them, call them. Like, don't text them, call them. Like, trust me, don't text them because they won't respond back to it. So I called him and he answered.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
And it was like, Bill, John Mark, like, I don't even know what I'm saying to him.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to book him. It's when I worked with Mike Missinelli. And he's like, sure, John, but I'm currently in the car and I don't trust the reception. Can I call you from a landline when I get home? I'll be home in about a half hour. And I'm like, well, I don't need you till like such and such time. He goes, absolutely. He called like 2 minutes before he was supposed to go on the air from a landline and was so gracious with his time or whatever. And like, you don't realize how many people, like Bill Walton was a huge star.
Right.
And you remember the guys that are very gracious, like Ken Rosenthal, the baseball reporter, couldn't be more of a dick. And trying to get, I hate him. I would take that bow tie and spin it around. But like, just say no. Like, you don't want to do it. Just like, don't respond back or don't say no.
Right.
Don't say like, I don't do radio interviews anymore. I don't have time for them.
Oh, wow. Big time you like that.
And I was like saying, like, Jason Stark gave me his email address.
Yeah.
Because I worked with Jason Stark. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll give you his email address, right? So it's like, yeah, like, hey, I work with Jason Stark, blah, 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 blah. And he just gave me this snooty response. So
Wow. Okay.
It's weird. I
So
hear him on radio all the time. Maybe it was just you.
it was probably just me.
Yeah.
Probably got forced to do it at some point.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
There you go. I think the
just
Phillies are in
don't-
good shape. You know, they're looking ahead to London. They got
The Phillies are in
international
great shape.
Well, you got a
trip on
weekend
their
series
mind.
with the Cardinals. We'll be fine.
They're in great shape.
Everything's fine, guys.
And even if they kind of are in a rut right now, there's too much talent on this team. I mean, there's too much talent in the lineup. The starting pitching. Now, if Ranger starts sucking and he goes out and he loses, I'm like, all right, things change.
Don't
But
even
Zack
throw
Wheeler's
that
gonna be so
out
good.
there. Don't even say
Well, I
that.
don't affect VG whether or not he does that. I'm
Enough
not
of you people
expecting
do
it.
it.
You know, we can affect it, VJ.
I think right now we're all being a little reactionary to the Phillies. Everything's fine. When the season started, remember we were all like, oh, we don't know about this bullpen. We don't know about this pitching rotation. They can't hit. And then we were on this show, we were like, are they going to be above 500 for the rest of the season?
Clearly, we said
and we were
yes.
like, yeah, they are.
Yes.
And I think just 3 games. 3 games. There's still a lot of baseball left.
Everybody get
Pump
a
the brakes,
gummy,
pump the brakes.
relax, enjoy it. Nice afternoon game today.
See, I love afternoon games.
Go smoke a
Oh,
VG.
you would
nog.
stay awake for this whole one?
I like the
You'd be up till like 7 o'clock today?
The 6:40 game I like because it gets done earlier,
Yeah.
but also, and it always goes back to my kids, that's like getting them ready for bed. I try to have them in bed by 8 o'clock. So by the time I've done that whole process, it's like the 8th inning. These games are over at 8:40.
Right. The
But-
pitch clock helps too.
No, I mean, I think it's, sometimes I feel like the games are a little bit too fast, but it's much better than a 4-hour, 9-inning game before that.
I get to watch with my pup on the couch today.
I like a good 4-hour inning game.
Occasionally I like that.
What else better is there to watch?
You know when I especially liked it? When I was going on after the Phillies game and I didn't have to actually go on the air.
Yeah, I can feel that.
It was cool when we did that. All right, well, listen. Is that it? Do we have anything else?
I'm good.
Is that
That's
it?
it, yeah.
This was fun.
It's a lot of fun.
See, like, can we just do 2 more hours now? I feel like now I'm in the groove. and I'm not-
Now we feel good.
All right, no, we're going to go. All right. So, yeah, check out Jamie's coming up with the Phillies show. So that's coming
right.
up. And you had gotten the lineup before, JP. Thank you to everybody. Jamie Lynch is going to be back tomorrow, I believe. So thank you very much.
Great job, Johnny.
Thanks, guys.
Great job.
All right, there we go. Later.